Okay, well, hopefully all of this works out, and hopefully you can hear me and the game this time, and we don't have to do like 20 minutes worth of technical stuff. Yeah. Let's see. Apologies if we've all been waiting for all of this for just a second. Hopefully this all works. Let me know what's going on in the chat. My apologies, you should be hearing just a moment of echo there. That's my bad. I'm going to go ahead and do the typical thing of switching weapons. I'm also going to pop out the Twitch chat so I can see and talk to you guys a little bit better, because that's important. Hello again, Aries, and thank you so much for being here. I appreciate having someone with the mod badge doing the thing. Catching up time for a live stream, it's 4 AM. Oh my goodness, go to bed. Unless your sleep schedule is deliberately... I don't know if you're working very early mornings or nights or something, but like, generally speaking, don't have a sleep schedule like me. Go to bed. It's not advisable. Very much not advisable. Let's see. I feel last time I watched your stream was your massive raid party of Destiny 1. Oof, that would have been a long time ago. Do you have a Discord? No, I dismantled that quite some time ago. Hello Beef. Hello other people. I am not doing Twitch just yet, Aries. I just want to go ahead and slowly branch out and experiment. Clicked thinking this was a video. Well, Doc, we're going to be playing through the new part of the Heresy story that's just come out, and then I'm going to be talking and giving my reaction as I go. So we'll go ahead and see what's what with that. Really quickly, everybody, I know that it is a little bit quiet. Just go ahead and tell me if you can hear me switching guns there real quick, because that tells me the game audio is actually coming through, and that way I'm not, you know, completely screwing. Had it from Denmark. Props on the Raid Lore video as well. Thank you very much. Hello, love the raid stream. Thank you so much. I see a yes from Cameron Soden coming through. Yep, everything sounds good. Heard. Can hear guns. Good morning. Yep. Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Excellent. You're good. Yes. Awesome. Cool. So nothing has changed on that front of things. Before we go ahead and jump in, I did want to go ahead and ask something. And this is just something for you guys who are watching the stream. This will probably apply to things going forward. I wanted to get a little bit of input on things. Basically, some of you will have noticed that yesterday's stream, or not yesterday's stream, rather yesterday's video was a stream. And it was the big old Valve the Disciple lore raid along that we did. That used to be a stream. That stream is now members only. So I want to go ahead and give like a little bit of insight. Not every stream is going to become a members only thing. However, in those instances where I do plan on turning it into a VOD, my plan is basically have the original up as a members only thing, and then take the edited down version, which would include anything that I would actually consider content you'd guys want to consider to watch. So going through the story, seeing my reactions, anything where we discuss things, all of that would get turned into a video, and I'd basically cut out all the expletives so I can actually monetize it, and YouTube doesn't demonetize the hell out of my channel. And that means that like the members only thing is still up for those who want to go ahead and see it, but it's also like the more kind of scuffed, rough cut version of the content. And whereas everyone still gets to see the actual curated version of it for free. I'm going ahead and testing that out. I haven't seen much kickback from it thus far, but I want to know if there is kickback, because honestly, like, yeah, I want to make sure that that's something that you guys want before I go forward and make that full-on policy. I've tested it recently, but like, yeah, I just want to make sure that's all good. And for further context as well, if it isn't actually going up as a VOD, it stays live for everybody. So I'm not trying to cut people out of content and keep it only for members, but I am trying to make sure that I have something there. And this is also for the... I should also expand saying, the only membership tier I have available right now is 99 cents. Like, I'm literally starting to get back into streaming full time, doing all of this nonsense. That means that, like, you know, as more things come along, you'll have more tiers going up with the things you might expect from a Twitch stream normally, and those will probably be enabled on Twitch. I just saw some questions about it, so I wanted to go ahead and let you guys all know, but I also wanted to get some feedback, because it is a bit of a weird thing, but yeah. mostly seeing it's all good. I tried to watch the edited stuff anyway. Raid alongs like very fun. Am I updating right now? Again, it's week 3. Cool. Thank you. Sounds like what reactors do of watch the full reaction on Patreon or something like that. Yeah, I mean, not even necessarily just that, because it's like, the reaction is the content, is the way that I'm looking at it as well. And so many of you have asked for that as time has gone on. So I kind of want to make that a priority, is throwing that out there. But I also wanted to give everybody the heads up, because otherwise weird things are going to happen. It's going to be that. I mean, I saw some people already talking about, like, where is the thing gone? The VOD is down. Context, none of the VODs are down, only the streams are down. The VODs are still publicly available. It's just the things that are publicly available are now the things that are edited and, you know, can actually be monetized because they don't have profane language in them. Hey Joe, how you doing? Just as an FYI, Joe, because I know normally we would be playing together on these things, I'm going to test doing story stuff solo this week. But context, still down for GMs later. Do you remember Season of the Witch when Arthur was being taken? Moment the eye popped up on the Dreadnought. Yeah, I'm gonna get to anything to do with that. I don't necessarily think it's the same because the eye isn't perfectly identical, but it could be. But yeah, for the most part, it looks like that's all good. Again, please, if there's feedback, do let me know. Also, thank you very much to Matthew Polmanter. Thank you for joining as a member, and Bradley Schaefer for joining as a member. And Vextus, thank you for the £5. I wanted to say your content alone is the reason for fixation on Destiny lore. I have a question. What is the one story point you really want explored? I'm always a big fan of dragons. Yeah, I just want to sit there and see what the hell... this. We'll do this before we jump into the story proper, because I know this is something that people want to get to. Here it is. Seasonal artifacts. Not this one. Queen's Foil Sensor. This lore tab on the Queen's Foil Sensor from back in the Season of the Wish basically has the unverified rumors of 7 Ahamkara that evaded and slew their Lightbearer pursuers are still unaccounted for. What's going on with that? What's going on with that? Do we just have 7 other dragons flying around the world and, like, nobody's really talking about it? What's going on? Like, talk to me about it, Bungie. So yeah, it's absolutely that, 100%. Okay, right. Totally Hermaeus Mora? Yeah, 100% it's Hermaeus Mora. There's no question. Right. With that, I'm going to go ahead and start recording this as well so that I can throw this into a video. Ooh, I say that. I'm going to open one last thing. I'm just going to pull up some YouTube settings on my live thing. Don't worry, the game sound might cut for just a second. This is just because I'm doing things on the back end. There we go. Okay, cool. Now I've got the control room up, so I can go ahead and do that. And pop you and chat into your own window, because I can go ahead and do things that way. That's going to be all good. Do all of this. Apologies for the wait, but we're nearly there. There we go. All right, cool. And now I can actually see who's viewing, whether we're going down, what's going on. Yeah, okay, that's all good. I wish for dragons, oh Bungie mine. Yeah, no, 100%. I'm right there with you. Okay. Mission Captis. Perform a paracausal ritual to help Eris bind the Echo of Navigation to her throne world. Oh, it's time. Ooh, it's time. The mission for week 3 of Act 2 has a hive... okay. Aldiso, I'm just gonna let you know, I would consider that to be a spoiler, just because it's not a story detail, it's still, you know, spoiling things, kind of. You know, I'd rather not know that in advance.
Guardian, we are poised to strike, and strike first. Meet me aboard the Dreadnought. I will perform our ritual where I fell. Oryx will bend to our strength, and my throne will be his prison.
Oh, it's time. Is dialogue volume up? That's actually a very good question. Could everybody go ahead and tell me if the dialogue is loud enough? This is a relatively important question. Because, yeah, I want to make sure you guys could actually hear Eris talking there and whatnot. Yeah, Aldito. I'm still. I just want to make it's the experiential thing, you know. I want to just make it really clear that, like, yeah, I don't want to know about anything going into it. I just want to go ahead and experience it for myself. 7 is good. Thank you so much, Bruno. Everyone else saying yes, perfect. Could be a little bit louder. Hopefully 7 is good then, because I did turn that up twice. That should be all good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's get going. Ooh, there was actually one thing I'm going to do. Aha, just in case. Because... auto hide on. You can tell, by the way, that I've been using the chat because, haha, I was totally not trying to do my solo flawless Vespers host and totally wasn't typing in numbers at encounter 2. Ooh. Oh, wait, no. It's telling us to go this way. Is there a... nope, that's the chandelier. Okay. No, it's just a weird broken waypoint. Okay, never mind. I guess I was going the right way. Yep, okay. Weird waypoint. That's fine. Context, this is... I don't know why people are mentioning Surus Regime. It's not Surus Regime. It's the Trials machine gun. In case, because I know these do actually look kind of similar. Well, well, well. This plate's lit up. Oh.
Guardian, Savathun and Zebu Arath's forces close on us like jagged teeth. Thwart them. Protect the ritual as I bind the echo of the Navigator to my throne world. I will subdue the Taken King, capture him, cleave him from his throne. He will not escape my power. I will be his jailer yet.
Oh boy, it's happening. Alright. Shame that we don't get a full refill of ammo, but whatever. Oh. There he is. Ah, I wondered if she might show up. I don't know if I'm supposed to stand in this one location. Okay, cool. I can just roam around the court. That's all good. Surus weapons look similar? Yeah, they absolutely do. Oh boy, I picked up on it. Eris without a blindfold is really interesting. Yeah, I love that the blindfold is off now. Kind of like represents a new age of... Whoa! Okay. Puzzle time. Oh, do I have to match the rune or something? Okay, I mean, let's... Oh no, they're Acolyte's eyes and Eyes of Vengeance. Okay, that's interesting. Ugh, so you need to... Okay. What if I just shoot the Eyes of Vengeance? Ooh, okay, so if you shoot the Eyes of Vengeance, they disappear.
His power is immense, but so is yours.
I see, okay. Ah, the power of reading, everybody. Eris without the hood on, does she have hair? I imagine it's more of a Kerrigan situation if you played StarCraft 2. It's got very hivey, kind of like how Kerrigan's got very Zergy. Yes, I did notice that Eris does not have her blindfold on the moon now. Oh my god, there's even more of them. Okay. Shoot the Eyes of Vengeance. Acolyte's eyes. Damn, that heavy ammo.
Our bindings hold fast. Press on.
Oh, damn, okay. So it's like, by the looks of things, it's the, like, various points on the rune that you kind of have to match to it as well. It's not just about the eyes. Ooh, let's do that. Let's kill you real quick. Ooh, consume. Lol, brute force the eyes. I mean, look, listen, I would pull a barb every once in a while, but only if it really got desperate. Okay, we've had what looks... Okay. Still one guy over here. And his Warbeast friend. Coffee bean. So I imagine it's that one. That one. That one? Yeah. Oh, here we go. My god, it's just getting sucked in there. Yo!
Magnificent.
What? What? Oh, magnificent, not majestic. If that had been majestic, I would have had alarm bells going off in my brain, because majestic is a very... yeah, that word indicates things, but no. Oh, okay. I'm gonna just let this time out in case there is a dialogue thing. Majestic eagles, yes indeed, Stardevil. Did it work? Yes, I do believe it worked. Let's take a look at the quest real quick. Check in with Sloane in the Lost City. So I imagine this is gonna be a big trap. Trap? No, I read that from Thomas More in chat. My apologies. I imagine this is going to be a big conversation. That's what I meant to say. Words are hard. You'll hear me say that a lot as I stream. I sound much more eloquent over videos, or I've been able to actually cut out the moments where I completely screw up whenever I'm talking. Words are my job. Speaking is my job. Speaking coherently all the time. Very tricky. Loving the lore, this act so good. Yeah, Firestorm, like, they're killing it. You know, like, it's... I think it's fair to say that we didn't necessarily expect this after Revenant and Echoes were sort of duds and received pretty poorly. But like this... Oh, this is ridiculous. Like, they've had banger week after banger week when it comes to the story of Heresy. And the amazing thing is, Act 3 starts next week. There's no break. Like, they're just letting it go with regards to actual flow. It's going to be great. Huge momentum. Yes, Matt Effect. 100% that. Momentum is something that's so commonly missed out of the stories. Yeah, it's very important to get that stuff right. Let's see. I'm actually gonna... Is there anything new at the Shaping Slab? No. Okay. Anything new on Resolve at the Shaping Slab? No. Okay. But we go back to Ambition, because we actually like Ambition. I presume it's in the Throne World? Oh, there it is. You see, I wondered if this would be the containment for the Echo. Ah, look at that. You know, that's surprisingly detailed for a model, too. Look at this. Ooh, we're going to get holotech for Sloane at this point, I think, too.
Guardian, we have him. Eris's mission was a success.
Oh, it's voiced. Yay.
Can't say I'm not impressed. Eris and I have never been afraid to do what needed to be done, regardless of the risk. And now we've captured the Taken King himself. I told Eris that fear is a warning. Correctly deployed, we can send that warning to our enemies. Now the Taken and the Dread hear it loud and clear. You know I was against bringing him here. Eris's throne world was our tactical advantage. But we had to move fast. That's what Eris did. She reacted, and now we have to adapt. This is an opportunity. We've got Oryx pinned. Hold him, Guardian.
We're going to hear from Oryx now? Gaze into the Shaping Slab, reflect on your path. Weird that Oryx himself has been remarkably quiet about this. I think Gaze into the Shaping Slab is probably just going to be like the typical like outro worth of audio dialogue stuff, but reflect on your path is interesting, because here's something that I think most people haven't necessarily picked up on. Oh yeah, that improved Hollow Ghost is 10 out of 10. GG, well played, Bungie. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so things that people have not necessarily picked up on. Path of Ambition and Path of Resolve. Resolve clearly comes from Sloane, right? Like, that's just the way it absolutely is, because that's how she learns to control the taken energies. Eris guides us to the place where we learn about the Path of Ambition, but the Path of Ambition itself comes from a call that we don't know about in the Dreadnought, and whoever this unknown new master of the Taken is, it likely originates with them, is the kind of hypothesis I've been running with at very least. Can we make a new gun from the Echo? Oh, you would expect.
Guardian, we are triumphant. With the Echo of the Navigator as our prisoner, we have gained ground against those who would subdue us.
We still have to deal with Oryx's sisters. Eris's actions have galvanized them. Oh, but the Echo is secured for now. We have our shot at finishing this.
We must not destroy him. He is a rich source of knowledge. As Echo and King, bound we may interrogate him.
And how long until you lose control?
I cannot hold him indefinitely. Keeping the Echo of the Navigator in my throne world consumes my focus.
If the Echo escapes, or if his sisters are successful, it'll punch a hole through your throne world and straight into the Dreadnought. The last city would be in extreme danger.
I will not allow it.
Of course you won't, but Oryx would. We can't let our ambition outstrip our ability.
Quite.
Guardian, we need you back on the Dreadnought. You're our line of defense. Keep the Echo out of Xivu Arath and Savathun's hands. Assert control.
I will learn what I can from the Echo. But by force or ritual, they will move to reclaim their stolen sibling.
I'll say it again, for good measure. I don't like this. We're putting humanity at risk. Sloane. Hey, and a new mod. Handling swap speed, reload speed. Okay, Act 2 complete. Galvanizing the other two siblings is kind of wild, for those of you who are not immediately aware of it. Damn. I was looking for that good afterlight. This is the first thing I really want to go ahead and pick up on, because honestly, that's going to be the big takeaway from this. Savathun and Xivu Arath do not like each other. Like, Savathun actively thinks that Xivu is contemplating ridiculous nonsense that really doesn't matter. And in the meantime, Xivu is happy to call Savathun a heretic all on her own for claiming the light. But Xivu is also just kind of a lost sibling at this point. Her entire existence is very much sort of carved into the point and prospect of everything to do with just Oryx having returned, and it's kind of the main thing that's given her drive at the moment. I think the fact that I think the fact that we're looking at all of this from the perspective of Xivu and Savathun uniting is scary. You know, that's potential for the Hive to actually be galvanized as a force properly, which means, hey, Lucent Hive and Dark Hive. Maybe this plays into Savathun's plans more greatly, though, because she has kind of been trying to pull apart that divide. Let's see. While we're at this... Swap seed. Yeah, no count. Welcome to what it's like when I actually have to do things live. I'm gonna say things, and it's not always gonna be correct. Eris has a basement? Yeah. Thank you, by the way, to Dux and Joe, I believe it. No, it wasn't Dux and Joe. It was actually Elle. It was my wife who found this first, I believe. At least amongst the group of people who told me about it, it was her. So thank you, Elle, for that one. But yeah, Eris has a little kind of study underneath the throne. Isn't that great? It's very cozy. And for those of you who want to know, you can access it literally just by going like this. Like, it's literally at all four corners of the area. You just drop down and then go through a door. Nice and easy. But yeah, at this moment in time, if anyone wants to go ahead and ask questions about all this, because at this point, I think it's very clear that the next step is just, hey, we wait for seeing what happens at Act 3. We have claimed Oryx and the echo and memory of him. Savathun and Xivu Arath might try some more desperate plans, but there's also just... yeah, There's just a lot of other stuff going on that might potentially impact the story. I still don't know what's going on with this new Master of the Dire Taken, but yeah. If you want to go ahead and ask a question, best thing you can do is at my name is Bife on that, so I get it highlighted in the chat. Act 2 ending feels like it's too good to be true, like something is going to go horribly wrong in Act 3. Yeah, I think there's the potential for that. Either that or this is a moment where we basically just have a really big clarifying point in the story. Do you think we'll see Xivu in Act 3 in person? Probably not. I think it's likely that when we see Xivu, it's going to be a full expansion. And like we did see her in the cutscene, but no, I think that they're deliberately holding back her in-game appearances for what I would presume is the planned appearance of Xivu, which I have to assume is going to be Keitel and Xivu fighting over Tora Battle. Who do we think is controlling the Dire Taken? No idea. It's kind of the entire point of all the lore around it. If you have not found all the secrets of the Dreadnought, I would recommend going through and in particular getting enough progress to unlock the 2 secret areas and get the book for the Song of Descent. This is really good. From the Last and Resonance Song are the latest 2 entries. I haven't actually discussed these on the channel yet, but yeah, these make for some very interesting reading. In particular as well, there's stuff to do with Kate Eyre in one of these, I believe. So there's a lot to that. Do we think there will be new dialogue in the Nether? That is a great question, because you know what? We have Oryx now. I'd suspect there's new dialogue in both the Nether and the Court of Blades. So we'll go ahead and we'll do some of that as well afterwards. Do you think the good vibes around Heresy is placebo because of the tradition of the last season being good? Honestly, I understand what you're saying about that, but the last season has not always universally been good in Destiny times. Like, I need everyone to just go ahead and remember that whilst I liked the Season of the Seraph story, people were quite down on it up until the final moment with that Rasputin cutscene where everything basically went to pot and he sacrificed himself. So, like, I need you to know that vibe is very much not always there. Like, people have this kind of a false memory of some of that and how it necessarily works. Genuinely, I think that they fixed a lot of the teething problems with this kind of format. I think that this is actually some of the best seasonal content we've had delivered thus far. And I know that opinions will vary, and yes, there is a recency bias to all of that, but I look back at things like Season of the Splicer is always what I hold these things up to. Season of the Witch as well. I'd say these are very, very good. The story is really compelling, but I think the most important bit is that we've not had a single dud week with regards to story. Like, honestly, this is the shortest week. This feels like it's closest to the potential dud, but we captured Oryx in this week. Like, the story and narrative tangibly moved forward, which is not something that always happens. How's my vault looking? Hey, Sierra, I will let you know. I saw people complaining about my vault. I did some cleaning, thank you very much. I cleaned out 60 spaces. Be proud of me, damn. Has there been any alternate dialogue with Touch of Malice equipped? No, there has not. Although I imagine that's something people would already have tested because, yeah, if people hadn't realized this, they would have known about it at some point. There's Drifter dialogue talking about the hidden in the last city. Interesting. I need to go ahead and look into that. There's also lore on Chalco and the Drifter and some of the stuff to do with the hidden. There's new lore about the hidden generally. Do you think Xivu will get access to her throne? It'd take some pretty remarkable story stuff to go ahead and do that. Joe, I would need a body to potentially do nether stuff, but I could also do it solo. Depends on what you're feeling right now and how you're doing. You reading the unvoiced parts made me think you were reading dialogue options for a second. Could you imagine if Bungie added that in the future as a part of their storytelling methods? Yeah, I could. The problem with a live service game with millions of players, though, is that you're gonna sit there and have people choosing branching paths, and that means that you kind of have to resort to the like the Fallout 4 version of dialogue trees, where it's the illusion of choice. It all ends in the same outcome. So, like, I don't necessarily know how that actually works out. If you want dialogue trees, you want meaningful differences to come along, and that can't always be done. Mav7, I like to think Tolan just got so unbelievably fed up with us refusing the throne and renouncing the throne. He was like, fine, I'll do it myself. Yeah, possibility. Absolutely a possibility. Pretty sure New Worm is controlling the Dire Taken. It is one of the possibilities that we've discussed. If you go back into the lore that you got from Echoes and you go to part 5 of the Polyphony lore book, As a stranger gives it welcome, has that weird mention of the knot thing, the knot worm, the great unquiet, or the great quiet thing, the knot worm. So yeah, it kind of fits with that analogy of, like, there is a massive creature somewhere out there. It also would need to be something incredibly powerful and would have to have knowledge of Taking to control the Taken. Ooh, there is secret dialogue at the last city with Drifter. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Sorry everyone, suspending questions for a sec there. I'm gonna look around for this. Hello Joe. When you say there is secret dialogue, ooh, it's this. I see, it's here.
Well, can't patch a hive sword up with the everyday ceiling. Where's that leave us? You're gonna need some kind of Taken fanciness for that. More than I have handy. Might be easier in the right place. Got some thoughts on that? I'll leave you a couple notes. Now, if anyone asks, I didn't tell you this, but they can't do anything to you anyway. Been working with the Hidden a little. Call it freelancing. I do a favor for them, they do a favor for me. They're squares, but they've got good intel. And they've been keeping an eye on Savathun. We're gonna have to deal with her sooner, not later. Still digging, but when something useful comes up on her, I'll be in touch, hero. You just stay ready.
Ah, so that's what people were talking about with regards to the Drifter and the Hidden. So, to give you guys an idea of how that looks on the lore side of things, it should be in collections. I think it's under weapons. God, I wish there was just a here's the new weapons from this season, like in a collector's badge. But there are new weapons this season that talk about Drifter and the Hidden kind of working together and doing a few bits and pieces. There's also lore about the Hidden generally. Fun note, and this is a little preview to something we'll make a video on at some point inevitably, Ikora Rey has stepped back as the leader of the Hidden, is now just going to nominate someone else to do that. She is going to retain her role as leader of the Vanguard, but now Chalco Yong is going to be the leader of the Hidden. So yeah, she's going to be our new hunter, the head of the intelligence agency for all of that. But like the real stuff to do with the Hidden and the Drifter, I think is earlier on. It's not that. I'm going to see if I can just... Is it in my more recently discovered things? Division is to do with the 9, so it's not that. Oh goodness, it's going to be in some of the older stuff that's like all the way back, isn't it? You think we will take the throne? I don't think we'll take the throne. I think something else is going to happen. If I had to go ahead and guess, I think I'd probably give you like a false impression of it anyway. I honestly don't want to put my finger on it. Like for the first time in ages, I don't see what the predictable end to this story is. You know, like when it really came down to it, there are a few surprises at the end of some seasonal stories, but like most of the time you will sit there and you'll be able to kind of ballpark where it's going. For the first time in ages, I don't know how this goes, you know? Like, even in Season of the Wish, which did it in a very novel way, we kind of knew that we'd have to defeat, like, Xivu Arath in some manner. We'd have to make sure that there was some kind of resolution to that plot line, and there was. I didn't expect it to go down the way it did, but it absolutely did. Let's see. Do you have any concerns regarding the pace of the story? I do, because it feels like there's no real time to marinate some of the story bits. For example, Drifter leaving. You know, on that, I actually disagree. I think that it would have been the... So here's the thing, right? I am maybe a little biased on that, because we are coming off of the... Well, the pacing of Revenant, where everything kind of just happened at once and it felt like there was no time to breathe. I kind of feel like it's the total opposite, you know? Like... There is a... Okay, let's actually nail in, because this is a good topic. Pacing matters according to the moment, right? Like, Drifter leaving was something where we kind of didn't have much more we could do, because he himself was just gone. Like, there's nothing that we can sit down and actually change about that. It's his own decision. We just kind of had to live with it. Now, when it comes to pacing with this moment of capturing Oryx, I'm expecting changes within the dialogue of the Nether, and if there's not, that's a bit of a fumble there. Because, like, immediately you're dealing with the consequences of Savathun and Xivu Arath might be uniting their forces and galvanizing the Hive together. And that's awesome if that happens. but it's a, you kind of see what I mean? Like, it's a moment by moment, situation by situation thing. Pacing is not a universal, like, trend graph that you can follow. Much as people love to sit there and post the Star Wars graph, which, for the sake of a movie, is great, it isn't like that all the time. You know, we're sitting here in this moment where a story's pace sometimes needs to be slow so things can marinate, and sometimes needs to be fast. And sometimes there are events that happen outside of our control where pacing just gets thrown out of the window. Do you think revealing Eris was alive after the first week was a mistake? No. I think that dramatic irony like that is fine, especially because it primed us to not have the debate at, like, Act 2, Week 1. Because if you see where that goes, basically, with the stories, you know, you'd basically have sat there, and on the flip side, you would have had people sitting there and saying, Bungie can't commit to a story decision. Why couldn't they have let Eris stay dead? They couldn't even let her stay dead for 5 weeks. This absolutely is... No, I completely disagree. I know that there's going to be some people who disliked the idea that it wasn't kept as a surprise, but you've got to contemplate the alternate possibility there. And I think that dramatic irony let us see what the emotional, tangible results of all that were, whilst also still giving us the note of, like, hey, we know that there is going to be some backlash if we do not let you guys know. Also, it was a really cool reveal that she had a throne world without saying it outright. And now that's a major part of... Like, can you imagine how out of nowhere it would be if, like, Act 2, Week 1, we just did this, and then at the end of the thing, well, throne world, you know, hi, no idea. Like, yeah, it would have been an amazing surprise to some, but there would have been some people sitting there and saying, like, the total opposite. Being like, man, you guys can't commit to killing a character at all. Like, that's where I sit on that one. Act 3 plot twist, Kel'Grath will take the Taken Throne in the name of Xivu. He can try. I'll stand in it. I'll take the Taken Throne before Kel'Grath does. Would you do a lore walkthrough of things other than raids, like exotic missions or Excision or Dual Destiny? Hell yeah, if there's enough demand and if it works. What is the name of her throne world? Her throne world is personally called the High Heresy, but in the game, the location is called the Noiseless Chantry. So maybe that's the space within the Ascendant Plane is known as that, because, I mean, look at this place, the Grand Cathedral of her soul, but she has named it the High Heresy. Let's see. I think we might jump in and do some... Yeah, let's go ahead and check out the Nether. Because, like, yeah, I want to go ahead and see what's going on with that. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and launch us in. We're just going to do explore on this one because I don't want a random to jump in on this. We might jump ahead and just miss all sorts of things and whatnot. I would like to actually see if there's new dialogue and secrets and things going along out there because it has evolved week by week. Oryx alluded to gifting the High War to Xivu Arath, or even... So even if it was given and not taken, does that mean she can get a throne world? I don't know if that's necessarily the case, right? Because the High War is not the same. It's kind of a... Well, actually, yeah, no. I'm sorry, I'm trying to reread that question. Yep, okay. So, Court of Oryx, Court of Blades. Not entirely sure, but I don't think it would be the exact same function-wise. And there's a reason for that, right? Like, for you to resurrect, I believe it needs to be your throne world that you get sent to, right? So I don't think that's how it would necessarily work. As for all of that and how that functions from now, I have no clue what's going on because, yeah. Do we have opening dialogue? Ooh, refreshing firearms. Sometimes Oryx would give us opening dialogue in this moment. So right now I'm just listening out for all of that. Trying to do the thing. That laugh was a little too evilly. Look, listen, man. We said this back in Season of the Haunted. We said it back in Season of the Wish. Eris has that laugh, but also she saw all her friends die and was locked up in the Hellmouth for 200 odd years before she finally managed to escape. Let Eris have nice things. And, like, also, she turned into a literal hive god. And then, despite having all the power in the universe, becoming briefly the most powerful hive in existence, she gave it all up. Eris is allowed an evil laugh every once in a while, man. Like, I don't know how else to put it to you. She's had the best opportunity to betray us if she was going to betray us, and she chose to fight by our side and stay with us. Like, I don't know how to put it, man. Like, we can trust Eris. She has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. There are new whispers on the Dreadnought. Ooh, Henry, expand on that. Ultra Risen, thank you for the $2 donation. Can I feed the Echo of Navigation motor oil? I imagine probably not. Then again, what do you feed your GPS? You don't feed your GPS motor oil. I'd say that much. Did Dread exist back in the collapse? If not, what attacked during the collapse? Or did Ada 1 encounter that sounded like 2 trains? That's a really good question. I don't think it's necessarily the Dread. I think that it's other Darkness-aligned forces that existed back in the collapse. Predominantly, the big question for me is, what about Tormentors, right? Because here's the thing. We know that the predominant large majority of the Dread were created from a combination of the Witness's Darkness and the Traveler's Light in the Pale Heart, right? But Tormentors existed before the Witness got access. So they're kind of the anomaly to all of this. They're the question mark in my mind.
Dreadnought's crawling with nasties. Go get him.
Hi, Drifter. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the chat and shoot at the same time, so I'm just totally dad rifling into nothing for most of this. Let's see. Let's question about the law, but what would your opinion be upon getting an apartment like Eris if the developers gave us one? I'd love that. I know there were articles talking about how it was rumored to be discussed back at some point. Whether that's actually the case or not, I don't know. But I'd love it. It's just a case of like, can we do that and what's the content you'd need to sacrifice to get it? Also, please let me know if the game is too loud while all this is going on. I'd love to go ahead and see that. Sorry. Trying to answer questions whilst also shooting at things. Do you think the 9 are going to mess with him personally and whatever happens next? I have no clue, man. This is with regards to Drifter getting a happy ending. Happy endings, let's put it this way, endings, full stop. I think we should sit there and just acknowledge that in Destiny they don't necessarily exist in the same way. Like in live service games, especially ones that have a long runtime like Destiny, stories don't necessarily end as much as they evolve. Game audio is fine. Yeah, I know how to do the thing. I'm very well aware of the thing, kill the Blight, not the Taken, Cyberpunk. I appreciate the backseating, but like also, I kind of don't. I do know this, I'm just trying to do something which I don't usually do all the time, which is read chat whilst also doing this. Also, if you kill enough ads, you do get a minor boon. Just saying. Let's see, do you think Bungie will commit to Nezarec and make him a lead antagonist? He's mysterious and as they come next to the 9 and the Winnower at this point. I hope they do, but also I understand if the community does not necessarily have the... Like, conceptually and in the lore, Nezarec is amazing. I'd love to see more Nezarec. Lower sound effects volume, please. Yeah, sure. We'll do that a little bit. It's a little bit loud even in my ears. But yeah, so I'd love to go ahead and see that. The thing is, after Revenant and after Root of Nightmares and Lightfall, I don't know if the community is as jazzed about Nezarec as I am. Now, I could be wrong, because, like, the general consensus is that, no, it's all good, Cyberpunk. It do be pretty loud. Cool. Alright, I'm glad I lowered that then. Yeah, the general consensus tends to be that, like, Lightfall was not very well received, Revenant was not very well received, and those are the 2 bits of story. And hell, even Season of the Plunder was not necessarily well received, and those are the 3 bits of story where Nezarec was involved. But conceptually, I think it sucks to an extent because Nezarec is awesome. Like, yeah, he's present in some story that people did not necessarily gravitate to. But man, like, he's a god of pain and fear that has dominated entire civilizations. He sent the entirety of a city of humanity into, like, this restless, dreamless kind of sleep, where basically they were all being plagued by nightmares and instances of, like, I don't think people have read all the lore about what happened in Neomuna, but, like, he was doing some cool / terrifying stuff in the background. I just don't know if it's necessarily something where people want to revisit it immediately. Also, I'm gonna say this, he has some of the best written lore in the background with all of that stuff. Like, Nezarec is, go and read the lore stuff from, I mean, the Neomuna stuff has some of it, but, like, if you go through the raids and you actually do stuff from Root of Nightmares, go ahead and read all of the lore tabs you can from this, and then also read the attached lore books, because all of the stuff to do with the Cult of Nezarec, all the stuff to do with Nezarec's presence in the game, the lore is amazing. Like, Nezarec's writing has some of the best descriptions of what visceral terror sounds like that I think I've read in a while. Like, it's very, very good stuff. Yeah, exactly the point, you know? Pulsar, not Pulsar, someone put it in the chat perfectly. Nezarec, oh yeah, no, Joe said it. Nez conceptually very cool, Nezarec in reality a little underwhelming, like in Ron. Yeah, 100%. And, ooh, thank you for the $5. Cheese Sauce La Cheddar. Love that name, that's fantastic. Since Eris is technically Hive as well, is it possible she dies and the Traveler provides her a new ghost, just like, Savathun? Well, first of all, Eris is not technically Hive, she's human. Like, I know that she has Hive things, and what qualifies as Hive is a little bit questionable. She uses Hive magics, but she is, species-wise, not a Hive. As for the Traveler providing her a new ghost, I'm gonna probably say hard no. Like, she had Briar, and Briar is now dead, and that means that it's likely the case that she's not going to get another ghost sometime. But definitely not a Hive ghost. We also don't know if a second ghost can bond to someone who is a Guardian, right? Like, there's some new lore this season about Osiris getting a new ghost, so to speak, that follows him around like a buddy, but we don't know if that means he can use the light again. Like, we don't know what it takes. Like, we've had some ideas, maybe from, like, Shin Malphur, but, like, not all of that is immediately and explicitly stated. Like, we need to see it said to get the truest of confirmations. It is just very kind of like, maybe, but, like, question marks. I would be really hesitant to confirm it for fear of being wrong. Should have done Season of the Pain back during Lightfall instead. It would have been about freeing the Cloud Ark from Nezzy. I mean, I think that that would have been great, but also, like, Nezarec goes way beyond just the Cloud Ark, you know? Like, he is a way bigger force than all of that. You know? So, there we go. I don't really make use of Herald of the Deep, but whatever. Nezarec's full potential to be an expansion level boss, playing us like Savathun and Witness did. He just hasn't been in the position to toy this yet. Yeah, I agree. I'd say that there is definitely going to be an opportunity for that at some point in the future, but right now, that's not happened. It's a bit odd that there's limited dialogue so far. I mean, yeah, honestly, what, we've heard the Drifter and that's mostly it. I assume you're talking about this Nether run. Unless you're talking about Heresy generally, in which case, yeah, it's due to... I should go ahead and clarify this now, because a bunch of people reached out to me at a certain point during the beginning of the season. I've never really had the moment where I've been able to clarify it, because Heresy has been moving so fast. But, yeah, Bungie is on a list of companies that is not struck with regards to SAG-AFTRA. They actually have complied with the demands. However, it is still up to voice actors' choice to go ahead and strike in solidarity, which is why you see some people like Todd, for example, able to work on it without crossing the picket line and being a scab, whilst also you see some people who are voluntarily choosing to not go ahead and do any work for the solidarity of people who wouldn't have that work in the first place. Hence why you don't have Zivo Arath and Sloane's voice in this. Now again, I am not exactly clued up when it comes to how things are working inside SAG-AFTRA, not to mention it's a union in another country, so I don't know the exact insides and outs of what may or may not be different compared from the US to the UK, but that is what I have been told, and yeah, very, very glad to be updated on that. Have you ever been on r/Destiny Circle Jerk? Magical place, I would recommend it. No, I think not. And I, just based on that name alone, I think I'm going to avoid it. Ooh, Novatic, thank you for the $5. While we focus on Hive Gods, I'm still thinking about some Forgotten Disciples. Are they very wary to these echoes being dispersed? I mean, if they still exist, then I would presume they must be at least somewhat aware. I'll be completely honest, I don't know where the lore of Forgotten Disciples goes from here. It's a very interesting question for all of this, because, like, you'd expect that they would have done something, but it may also be that they're just trying to sort of congregate and gather their power in the wake of the Witness. Let's take a look. Also, Cameron, thanks for the $5. Favorite lore fact, and let's just kill that real quick before I go ahead and do this. Favorite lore fact, and who do you hope the next big bad is if you could pick it? I used to think it was the Winnower, and now I'm not so sure, but honestly, as far as the next big bad is concerned and who I'd want it to be, God, I don't know. I want something that has an impact on the universe, and I want something that gives us consequences and stakes, something that balances the need for an enemy to actually be powerful with some understandable motives and some means of doing some really terrifying things within the world of Destiny. That's a lot, I know. It's basically a laundry list of please have this and this and this, but that's where I feel. Favorite lore fact? It's not the favorite, but the one that comes to mind immediately is the fact that the Cabal used to be banished until they completed their campaigns. I say used to because, well, now they're kind of all banished. They cannot return home until they return home victorious. And now they can't return home at all, so the question of that is interesting. Ooh, what do we want for this? You know, I'm so tempted all the time. Yeah, let's do this. Let's see. It would be cool to get personal throne worlds customized as player homes. Cool, but not likely. Yeah, I agree. Just this Netherron dialogue? Ah, okay, gotcha. Desperately missing Xivu's voice lines this season still. Yeah, no, 100% I'm with you. I understand why it's not going on, but like, yeah, it would have made everything better. I do hope that when everything's said and done, they re-record it and upload it somewhere so that we can at least have that for posterity. Any updates on the Traveler/Gardener? None that I know of, but if there are any, I'll certainly make a video. I could have missed something, but who knows. We know that Clovis may have been contacted by the Witness because of clarity. What if there was a plot twist, and he was the Frostbite disciple? I find that unlikely. And the reason I find that unlikely is because there are two versions of Clovis. One of them is Banshee. The other one that still exists is the Clovis that we know from, is the Clovis that we know from on Europa, the head. So, like, he's physically there. He couldn't have been the thing that attacked the Exodus Indigo as it was heading out all the way to, Neomuna. Because that's what I presume you mean by the Frostbite disciple. You probably mean the Winterbite disciple. Let's see. And that his power, how does Oryx compare to the disciples given the new stuff we learned about him and his relationship with the Winnower? I mean, up there, I'd say that he would have been able to beat some of them. Like, I imagine that Callus would have been no problem for him. I question whether Rulk would have been there, because Rulk still feels like a cut above. How far do you agree that Oryx is beginning to question his logic, and if he will abandon it or change it? And how far would something like that affect Xivu and Savathun's brood? I mean, have you guys seen the video I did last week of the Teoxoana? Teoxoana, I think it is. Either way, the point is, Oryx questioning this stuff has started to make all of the Hive question this stuff. Like, this has started a cascading point. Like, this is the big point that was drawn away from the conversation last week. Oryx questioning this has made them all start to doubt whether they would actually be in this position to be able to, like, hold on to their original philosophy and whether it was correct. You know, that's a big deal for the Hive. Like, this stuff has not happened. It has been unchanged for millennia for them. So, yeah, like, it's a lot of stuff to do with Oryx is going to make the Hive question what they're doing. Let's see. Ooh, Ultra Risen, thank you for the $5. Can I feed the giant eyeball motor oil? Real talk, I noticed it's described as quiet a lot, as is the knotworm, a quiet one, if you will. Yeah, no, I mean, in one of my thumbnail titles for this, and in one of the videos where I was talking about this, I did refer to them at one point as a silent king. Not a 40k reference, although many people pointed that out. But yeah, maybe it should be, because at the end of the day, like, this is one of the overwhelming things about it. The Taken are praying to this thing and it says nothing back. You know, so maybe the silence is what's kind of defining it. The fact that we've heard nothing from them is also just really eerie as hell. I love it. Genuinely, what is there to do with the Vex going forward? Is there any lore threads to pull beyond just whatever from Echoes? Honestly, no. Like, there are locations we could visit with regards to the Vex that are really cool, like Volantis 2082, aka the Forged Star on the other side of the Glassway portal. Like, there's awesome facts that, like, so many planetoids throughout the universe are infected by the Vex, which means that inevitably you're going to have a ton of them out there just, you know, doing their thing, chilling as you do, being a Vex. But it also means that we also have, like, a problem with the Vex that still isn't solved unless it's something that's solved by Maya from Echoes, which is that the Vex have always struggled because they don't have... Aside from Coria and Atheon, the Vex do not have villains. They have minds that say nothing to you, and their motives are just, I am Vex, I'm going to convert this planet into more stuff. And that's the motive. You know, that's the problem. Whoop. Sorry, by the way, for not why are the Grims so loud? What the? Okay. Yeah, sorry if I'm not answering every question, by the way. This is rolling really fast. And I was not expecting it to be rolling as fast as it is, but man, there are literally 1,000 of you in here, and that's awesome. So yeah, my apologies if I'm not getting to every single question. Favorite Oryx line so far? Loading into the court, I hear my verses are bloated with lies. Chills. Yeah, I love that because it's also a throwback to the Books of Sorrow, where there's a line in there which is scrolled in and inserted by Savathun, where she says, these books are full of lies. And she just like scrawls it in the margins. It's so cool. I love that that's there. I forgot Panoptes. Yeah, I know. Whatever, but it's Panoptes. Does anyone really remember Panoptes? Yeah, no, my favorite line though is absolutely the line that he says to Xivu, where she basically invites him back onto the path of conquest. And then his response is saying, you know, then kill me. Are you afraid that you will succeed, or are you afraid that you will fail? It's the other way around. Are you afraid that you will fail, or are you afraid you will succeed? And it's awesome because it's calling Xivu out to her face. You know, it's saying like, I know why you're really asking this. You miss me as a family member. You don't care about the sword logic as much as you proclaim to. I should be dead. That's how it should be. It's just... it's such a strong line. Like, there is a rebuke you can sometimes do of characters where you just sit there and sing to their philosophy immediately. And it's just... he stabs her metaphorically right where she is in most pain. The Vex need to become a threat. I mean, Destiny needs its universe-consuming factions. I agree. I think if we really want to see the Vex go ahead and become more of a threat than they are, I'd want to see Vex minds just sort of, like, unite and create a greater consciousness with a greater mind to it that sort of works as a foil to Maya. That way you have some internal factions, you have something which you can refer to. Maybe you call it, like, I don't know, the Overmind or something. Is this something that I'd love to see? Cool. Is it actually going to happen? No idea. Is it possible Bungie has thought of a more compelling story thing than this? Absolutely. Like, I think that this is something else too. I have no clue what's going on with all of that. Because obviously, like, astoundingly, as I have to say again every once in a while, I don't write the story. But Bungie's narrative team as of late has actually been doing some really fantastic stuff. Ignore Revenant. I want you to hit that in mind. Ignore Revenant. I do not necessarily count Echoes and Revenant because of the fact that that stuff was done in a space where there was a lot of duress, quite clearly. The timing of things where they had to make sure everything was done for final shape, and then also delays, and then also layoffs. You can go ahead and forgive some of that, I think. Master Rahul, new Taken King, lol. Who is the weapon? The weapon in this context, I believe, refers to the literal weapon of the Dreadnought, right? So the systems that we were disabling all the way back there, those were partly from the Taken King campaign, where originally we would go here in the first mission of boarding the Dreadnought and shut down the weapon of the Dreadnought so that we could establish a proper landing zone. That's like the entire point of all this first mission. And the Dreadnought's weapon is an incredibly powerful thing. I'm going to turn this down more because, God, it's the dialogue volume. That's why it's so loud. I wondered why the Husks and the Grim were so loud in particular. Yeah, no, it's the entire point of what I'm trying to say is basically like, if you are if you're looking at the story and you want to go ahead and think of something new that's coming along, don't worry, like, let them cook, basically. The Bungie narrative team has proven that they're capable of doing things when they're not under duress and time. And Heresy is the latest along with regards to changes of strategy that they're doing, moving into Frontiers. That's basically, from what I can tell you as someone who is an outside observer, but someone who has, you know, been playing the game for 12 years. Like, I have a little bit more confidence than I did, like, 8 months ago. Let's see. Heard someone say that in any other universe the Vex would be terrifying, but here they're just punching bags. Yeah, that's kind of what happens with paracausality. Like, you have the ability to break the rules of the universe, meanwhile the Vex just work within those rules to a terrifying extent. And the fact that you can supersede something's power to that level, yeah, it kind of trivializes certain things, you know? Like, it's why the Cabal were so impressive to a certain extent, because, like, I mean, the Cabal created a technology that allows them to sever us from our light. That in itself is a huge deal. But, like, it's only a huge deal in the context of Destiny's universe because our power is just that strong, you know? Has anyone translated the Dread language? I've seen some people make some progress, but nothing really worth writing home about unless I've missed a major update. Let's put it this way. I don't know what they're saying. I feel like I would have seen it from, like, banter around the lore community and from other people talking about it. I feel like someone would have, if it had been fully translated, someone would have made a Reddit post talking about the discovery. They would have linked back to the original people and we would have known. But yeah, thus far, no kind of, like, concrete push forward. What's your take on the lines, sing Orison, make entreaty, invoke your god? Could that be the name of the god? This is from Songs of the Descent, I take it, right? Let's just go ahead and take a look. It's near the end, or is it near the beginning? Nope. That's the captain's log. Trying to remember where that is. Because I know I've heard it, I just can't remember. Maybe in one of the earlier entries? Yeah, there it is. Not entirely sure. The fact that it's in all caps also doesn't help there, because it could be that that's a word that I've missed the meaning of, or alternatively it could be a name. But we don't know because it's all caps, and that means it's hard to tell if it's a word or a proper noun. Hi, welcome. I too have moments where my vocabulary is not complete. Oh, thank you for the £5, Maeft.
Eris, when you got all hive-like to take on Xivu, I knew you'd be there when the job was done. I don't doubt you now either, but maybe you hang out back from now on. I can't take that again. Please.
Your worry is sweet, but unnecessary. In my absence, I did not mean to cause such grief.
Oh, that's kind of sweet. Ah, an orison is a prayer. Yes, it's a type of prayer. Thank you. There we go. So unless it is literally someone who's named after that proper noun at that point, then no, assume that it's a prayer. Thank you so much. This is what's joyous about having a Twitch chat there. You're able to sample from a bunch of people's wide vocabularies. Oh yeah, given the Vex we've seen thus far are farmers and miners and not specifically meant for war, do you believe Sol could even defend if the Vex took a more serious interest? I don't know, man. The Vex are a terrifying force, but the way they fight is not just a thing of guns and explosions. They fight mimetically. Like, have you heard of the scariest possibility of what Vex dominance looks like? Because that's genuinely conceptually terrifying. Domination of the Vex is essentially... imagine... Okay. It starts with this. All Vex simulations have qualia. They have, like, a perfect grasp of, like, actual reality to them. If you are a Vex simulation, you wouldn't know it. Your simulated self is realistic and feels all the things you do, but they would have perfect power over you in that simulation. The simulation is also so accurate that they can not only sit there and do what they would want within that simulation, but also you and yourself and your flesh within that simulation can also be infected with theoretical Vex prions and with just Vex matter. And when you turn into a Vex, you would then be able to simulate further simulations. This is where it gets scary. You will be able to then simulate copies of yourself going through the same point, and all those copies will also then experience the same thing. And the lore talks about this as like an endless downward spiral of pain and Vex, and that's victory to them. It is a universe where they're the only thing that remains. Like, conceptually, it is terrifying to the kind of same extent that stuff out of the Matrix is, you know? Like, a victory so complete that you don't even know you've been fighting a war in the first place. So, like, yeah, the Vex are terrifying conceptually, but fighting a war with the Vex is not about fighting a war on the front of martial arms. It's about fighting a war in, quite literally, the mind. Lol. We want to not be here when everything starts to blow up. Oh, hello. What? Coward. Hang on. Hold on a sec. I see you. Get back here. No, you don't. Ugh, so yeah, there's that. Yeah, War with the Vex. Terrifying stuff. Let's see. What do we want? Overcharged abilities is quite good. Corrupted boon it is. Do you think we're going to use the Dreadnought to leave Sol? Maybe one day. I don't know. It depends on what the story trajectory they're going on is with everything coming next. Oh, what's the build? This is my stuff that I use for my like narrative drip, so to speak. The build is nothing special. It's literally just I plant my well and things go boom. With like combustion and ashes. But these are just passive things for gameplay. Make Fire Sprite, pick them up for restoration. Use well because Phoenix Protocol. Use these because they do more in like combat. Yeah. And for those wondering, yes, the Ergo Sum is Caster Polaris because it is phenomenal. I farmed so much to get this. Worth it. Worth every second. Someone has uncovered reversed unintelligible dialogue from the witness from Salvation's Edge and Excision. Have you heard it? It goes back and forth referring to itself as singular and plural and other stuff. You know, if it's in Salvation's Edge and in Excision, that doesn't actually surprise... Okay, first of all, I don't know if that... I have not seen that. I don't know if that's actually the case. So, like, I really hope that that's a thing, because, damn, that sounds awesome. But also, the fact that it's in both Salvation's Edge and Excision does not surprise me exceptionally, and there's a reason for that. We've already started weakening the Witness's hold at that point, and in particular, when it gets to Excision, we start actually killing the dissenters within it and start to cleave it apart. There is inevitably going to be a point at which multitudes, if you start reducing them, become singular. So in those moments where you sit there and fight against the Witness, it's possible that that's a sign that it is starting to break apart and change from a plural being into a singular being. That would be my best guess at very least. It also leads back to this idea that some voices within the Witness were basically dissenters from kind of the very start and just kind of quieted themselves down. Inevitably, there would always have been voices within the Witness that consented to the plan more than others did, right? Like, consented enthusiastically as opposed to consented, like, out of a resigned or begrudged sort of place of just, well, this is where our society's going now. So yeah, if that is true, that's really interesting. I've not seen it, but I've seen... You're the second person I've seen talk about this now. Also, we're going to go ahead and do this. See if the dialogue is any different.
Oryx's return instigated a grand schism in the Hive. They are shaken. They entertain the first doubt. The oldest doubt. They call it the Enteoxuana. The doubt that will destroy them. The doubt that will undermine their core philosophy. Whatever happens must be so. But what must be so is poison. Their king was slain, but his mantle went unassumed. Now he returns as a sword, wormless, resurrected, and without the strength of his brood. There is no greater heresy than this. His sisters know it. He knows it. And so in this, Oryx wishes to begin again.
For those of you who haven't seen that, I figured I'd shut up for that dialogue. Novatic, thank you so much for the $5. Also considering this new entity interacting with the Traveler, thus changing the great game. If by this new entity you mean the kind of unknown new master of the Taken and the creator of the Dire Taken, very interesting if that is the case. If it is actually like crowding in on the Winnowiz turf, yeah, the implications of what the hell's going on with the Traveler and what its opinion on that might be and what it might do, crazy. I'd love to see where that goes, because that's a bigger thread that we haven't even been able to pull apart at yet. Can you see, do you think we'll ever see the Hive using Prismatic? I mean, need to be a very special Hive, but also I think our discovery of Prismatic was partly due to really quite exceptional circumstances. I mean, like, you know, this was clearly something that was not immediately part of the plans of the Witness or the Traveler, or probably the Winnower, but I don't know. There is a degree of remarkable complexity to all of this. I don't think we'll ever see the Hive use it, because I mean, if we don't see someone like Savathun using it anytime soon, then what's to say some other random hive is going to be able to pick up a ghost if it's a dark hive and then not leave the darkness behind, or pick up the darkness again if it's a light-aligned Lucent hive. You know? So many questions. I wish I understood properly what the dynamics were of it, but for the moment, I think I'm content to say, don't know. Predictions on what the narrative direction of Apollo could start with. I mean, for anything, it's going to have like an instigating question or a mystery to it. It's got to probably have like something that leads people in a direction to go somewhere. So there will be an inciting incident, I know that much. Just because that's how stories work. But as far as everything else is concerned, I don't know. I hope it's something fresh. You know? Like, whatever the direction they choose to go, I hope that they choose something which genuinely lays the foundation for questions. And like, this is very much me, and I'm sure there are bits and pieces to where they'd need to finesse this to make it work. I hope they get weird. You know, like, Bungie storytelling is always best when they explore something and then it gets weird. Like, super weird. I think that as a result, like, I don't know. Like, here's the other thing too. They've been really tight-lipped on everything to do with what just everything we're seeing in Apollo is going to be. The only thing we have is those little bits of concept art, and I don't know what the hell's going on in those. So yeah. Taken subclass possibility, yay or nay? I say nay, purely because... Ooh, speaking of Taken, yay, minor boons. I say nay because I think it's instead actually going to be the sort of stuff that was predicted from earlier, where it's going to be more of a sort of nightmare power. Not strictly nightmare, you understand, but instead something that is more loosely based on the idea of just that power that Nezarek's ship is able to manipulate. I struggle calling it nightmares because darkness powers, they are based on general terms. Like, stasis isn't about, like... Stasis isn't evil, for example. Stasis is about control. Strand is about connectivity. So in the same way, nightmares have a negative connotation, whereas I think it would be more accurate to call it something along the lines of nightmares and dreams if you're looking at the energy of it all, right? Nightmares, dreams, potential, that's my guess at very least. No, I don't think we'll see it taking subclass, but I could be wrong. Like, who knows? Oh, jeez. Forgot about how close this man's to when you just get dropped in. Consume. Oh no, how menacing. Sorry, I'm in my Well of Radiance. Doesn't matter. Ugh. Okay. Let's see. Power of Consciousness? I think that one's more kind of related to Strand, if that makes sense. Like, connectivity, consciousness, almost fate itself and the threads that bind us is kind of the vibe of Strand. I could be wrong there. I'm trying to say this while I'm being chased by a tormentor. Normally we would have a reveal vidoc for the upcoming expansion by now. Do you think the lack of reveal has made Heresy story more exciting? No, I think that it's exciting on its own even without a reveal. Also, I think that, and this actually makes me think of something, if it is something to do with the fact that it is Heresy's story that links into what comes next, it may end up being that we're gonna need to go ahead and wait until, say, something big happens in Act 3 and then the reveal will happen like the next day. I'd imagine that might be the way that it goes. Do I know that to be the case? No, but it's probably my best guess at this point. Glad you pointed that out though, because like, yeah, that's actually a fair point. We should probably have had a reveal probably by now. Third darkness element could be tied to emotion, not just nightmares. Happiness heals where fear damages. Yes, entirely possible, yeah. Although, granted, actually, I say that. I need to, no, you could be right, because stasis is not emotions. It is control and will that they're bound up in that. Ooh, hello. So yeah, I think you might well be correct. I've run that tormentor might pick you up and say mean words to you. I will survive. Also, it's very hard for me to go ahead and tell if he's saying mean words or not because no one's translated the Dread language yet. I could be the terrible caricature of Britain and just be like, you know, start speaking very slowly and very loudly at the Tormentor. Not to the Tormentor, but at the Tormentor. Subclass like Prismatic that are multi-element but not a new element. A theoretical Taken subclass could be this. Taken themed powers. I mean, yeah, that's entirely possible, I'd say. I think that it's also the way that we're looking at this needs to sort of be slightly unbound. When we look at powers, in the old days it used to be, oh, we're going to get a new light subclass. And then it was, oh, we're going to get a new light or darkness subclass. Now I think, I mean, if you open it up to stuff like that, a subclass could be anything.
Palace, but that's just it. You're bringing Oryx there. And I trust you, but...
You trust, but you fear. I understand your guilt, but I would have been aboard the Dreadnought with or without you.
But I was there. And then I woke up to a world without you.
There is no blame for my death, nor your surviving it. I woke to a world of my own. Put down your fear, Drifter. You do not deserve such a burden.
Oh, that's kind of sweet. Also, I do kind of love that there's a sort of symmetrical opposite to that. You know, in all of these darkness moments and all the things about the Taken, there's all this talk about take up the knife, become sharper. And Eris is quite literally doing the opposite. She's telling Drifter, put down your fear. You know, you have no need to carry that kind of burden. It's kind of nice. If Oryx's worm was missing when he found his body in Ghost of the Deep, do you think there's a chance it got spirited away or became the Not Worm? I have no clue on that one. I'll be honest, I don't even know what the status of Oryx's worm is at that point, other than the fact that we killed him way back when. I don't know if it's ever been properly discussed. My assumption was that the worm was the Ravenous Heart from the Taken King Touch of Malice quest way back in the day. I could well be wrong at that point, because like, it certainly doesn't look like a worm. But who knows? If I had to go ahead and say anything about it, it's just I don't think we know. Could be that I'm forgetting something that's been written in the lore for Ghosts of the Deep too, so don't quote me on that. You're getting my opinion off the cuff, not a researched proper answer, where I would have taken a few days to look into things like this. Do you think our Oryx, as in the one that came to Sol in Taken King, not the Echo, good distinction, ever encountered the Witness? I don't know about encountered, maybe, and there's a reason for this. There is some, you know how around the Pale Heart of the Traveler, sometimes if you go into various locations that are outside of the main areas, like in this bit here, between the Seclusion and the Blooming, you can get like certain little pools of light that will like play audio dialogue and memories from characters. There's one which is the Witness speaking to Savathun, and it's speaking about Oryx, and it's talking about how he follows the sort of vague format of the final shape. So I think they would have had some kind of interaction, but I don't know if it's something where they were explicitly working together, right? Oryx has very much been more in the camp of the Winnower than the Witness by just the vague feel of how everything's been going. So, truth be told, not 100% certain on that one. But like, would they have known each other and been in vague proximity? I think it's almost certainly the case, but I just don't know if that's immediately where Oryx's allegiances lay, if that makes sense. Can we enter the Veil like the Traveler? Season of the Risen showed we can enter psychic spaces by making them physical. Yeah, I mean, there is a good question with that. And some of the original concept art behind the Veil did see somebody falling into its depths, and, well, who knows what happens from there. I think that inevitably at some point we're all into the Veil. Will it be sometime soon? I don't know. But the Veil, if it is like the polar opposite of the Traveler, it has to be connected in that sense. I think that's almost inevitable at this point. since the Echo is a memory of the Witness, doesn't that mean Oryx has direct contact with the Witness? Yeah, no, you're probably right at that point. In fact, if that is the case, then that might have given us the moment at which Oryx and the Witness made contact with each other, which would have been shortly after everything happened and he had become the Taken King. You know? Like, I imagine you would have had several contacts with various entities and various points of power, but it seems clear that this was pre-Dreadnought. Then again, I don't know. Ontological limit time. Here we go. There is a lot of, like, ambiguity that's also still left in the Books of Sorrow for things like this, by the way, too. Ah, yes. I made a video talking about this dialogue some time back, by the way. If you haven't seen it, then I would highly recommend going and watching the 2 videos on, like, the potential new god of the Taken. That's something where I talk about this dialogue that's not being voiced. If Savathun's worm became our new grenade launcher, what would Oryx and Xivu's worms turn into? I mean, look, listen, Savathun, as far as weapons is confirmed, I think grenade launcher is about as far from, like, what she would be as I can possibly imagine, you know? So, like, to say that that doesn't immediately make sense would be something, alright. You know, I think that the immediate desire would be to say, oh, they'd be a sword, but, like, all the Hive are about swords. Like, they're very unoriginal in this respect. You know? Could Oryx have met the Witness first in the Deep, then the Winnower second? Yeah, it's entirely possible. The first speech that Oryx made to the Deep was not recorded, so it could have been that they met the Witness. Not to mention, there's many questions about what the Hive did or didn't know about the Witness at that point. You know? How are you doing today, Mr. Byf? Very well. Looks like a fat bud in the thumbnail. Yeah, no, there's... So for those of you who don't know, Bungie releases press packs on a Bungie Press website that's, like, publicly accessible to everybody whenever a new thing goes live. This is one of the cooler pieces of, like, screen cap that they've given us, and I was like, yeah, sod it, we'll go ahead and use this. It is technically the Hive Knight that talks on Xivu's behalf in that one moment, but I was like, ah, sod it. Spoiler alert, I needed a quick thumbnail, and I decided to throw that together, because who knows, it's good fun. So far, given that it seems to codename Apollo, seems to be referencing the Apollo program, and all the hints around frontiers, do we have any speculation where we might go? I don't know, but, like, people keep on talking about the idea that we'll leave the system, which I think is not impossible, all things considered. Like, how far we'll go, I don't know, but the whole thing of, like, the next however many expansions, the next saga is codename Frontiers. So if you're looking at that from that particular perspective, you could sit there and say, like, yeah, all of our adventures from here on outwards will be outside of the solar system, which would be pretty cool. I don't know how they'd do that, but yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool. No, minor boon, damn. Predictions for Torobatl reclamation effort, showdown with Xivu. Will Keitel strike another final blow? Teox appears. I think that that's a very interesting question, because for those of you who do not know, Keitel is, unfortunately, part of the reason why Torobatl was lost. And this is one of her biggest regrets and one of the things she's really trying to make amends for. She killed Umuna Wrath, who was one of her own advisors, a Cabal warlord and general, Evocate general of all legions. She's just a very powerful character within the Cabal story. But when she kills her Cabal mentor, this Evocate general, she basically commits an act of war that lets Xivu invade the planet for the first time. That's the lore that you discover within the Empress lore book from Season of the Chosen, right? So when all of that's going down, you've then got the problem of, oh no, if we're actually sitting here and looking at all of this, we need to not repeat the mistakes of the past. Because if someone deals a final blow against Xivu Arath, I think it's likely that we're going to sit there and see her just grow more powerful, right? Oryx literally summoned Xivu back with acts of war. So if we're going to sit there and do this, we kind of need to do the total opposite almost. We need to disengage entirely in some regard. Sloan actually has a very neat idea of how to do this. It's discussed in some of the lore from the lore book around Heresy that we've been getting as the entire episode goes on. She basically states that in order to fight against Xivu Arath, theoretically, what we should do is take a look at Xivu's objectives and race to get there before she and her forces do, and basically just deny her that power. Which I think is a really cool way of assessing the problem and just countering it. Will that work? I don't know, but like, it's the best plan I've seen anyone in universe come up with so far, and I think it's a very cool one. Basically a way of saying like, hey, you can't fight her like the Ecumene did. She is now too powerful, even in her weakened state. You don't want to risk her growing more powerful, so you basically just have to push and fight for the things that she is fighting for, but do it better than her. Or alternatively, just supplant the things she's trying to get and, you know, work from there. Do you recommend Destiny 2 afterwards? I used to love Destiny 2. I'm replaying D1 with my sister, who's never played Destiny before. Do note, unfortunately... Yeah, this is not a new line. This line in a moment might be. Long story short, if you can stomach the idea that a lot of the story will be, like, lost to you, then sure. I'd say there are some campaigns that are absolutely worth your time.
Lockdown is tough. I ain't gonna tell you what you can and can't do. Still, it could go sideways fast. But I'm here if it does. And so is Thunderguns. Taken King won't one-up us. I trust us. I trust you. We'll get it done. And after.
Yep, sorry about the pause there. Yeah, so to return to that, if you want to go ahead and do D2, I'd say gameplay-wise, your experience is phenomenal. Like, Destiny 2 when it released is so much worse than Destiny 2 now, by like country miles. I'd say that some of the campaigns that have been released, in particular Final Shape and Witch Queen, are fantastic. The endgame content is excellent. However, you're dealing with a live service game, which means inevitably you're going to be dealing with a story that is segmented now and where bits of it, unfortunately, are lost to you. Because that's just the nature of things. So if you can stomach that, I'd say that it's really good. But, like, it's really hard to recommend Destiny 2 on that front and that basis, because if you want a continuous story, unfortunately, the best resources on my channel is the 10-hour video going through the whole story of the thing. So, like, I don't know what to tell you at that point, you know? It's always been tough to recommend it. If you're looking for the most solid looter shooter on the market that does traditional first-person shooting, yeah, Destiny is... there's nothing better. Oh, thank you for jumping in, by the way, Joe. It's very good to have you here in the thing. And thank you for chilling in chat. How do you make war irrelevant or impotent? You remove their weapons or drive. You make them unwilling to wage war. Yeah, that's a pretty good assessment, Rathradme. Mathradme, I think, rather. Where is Mara Sov? The last couple of mentions in the lore for Mara Sov were basically surrounding Eris's death. She was there at Eris's funeral, but she was also there talking with Crow after the fact and basically lamenting lost friends. That now is very much not relevant now that she's back. Do we know what's going on with the Traveler post-Final Shape? We see the Aurora Borealis coming out, but is it actually doing anything to the Traveler? We saw a little update on this in the lore, actually. What was it? Is it Mirror Imago? No, it's something else. It's one of the others. Anamnesis, I think it's here. Yeah, so in the lore tab here for Anamnesis, we actually see more about the Valence, which is the field of the Aurora Borealis. Ikora basically is sort of contemplating what the hell's going on with regards to the Echoes, the Echo of the Navigator, Valence of the Traveler. There's a lot. It's another video I need to do at some point in the future, but I want to go ahead and do more proper research on things. Also, hello Tent. Let's see. I've been playing since Destiny 1 Year 1, played most of Destiny 2, but I love watching a channel to keep up the lore. Well, thank you. And hey, I know that it's really tough getting someone new into all of this, but like, I think if there's any consolation to it, it's simply that my hope would be that Bungie is stepping into something new with Frontiers and is actually looking to do something really cool and unique where you don't necessarily need to know everything about the lore beforehand. Like, obviously they'll dig into some deep lore concept, but my hope is that the story starts from a fresh point, if that makes sense, you know? Like, it's not sitting there and it's like Book of Sorrows, Campaign Against the Hive Part 5. Like, much as I would love that, that's kind of what Heresy is right now, you know? You want to go ahead and have something where it's fresh and where people's immediate understanding of the story, you know, it calls out to the past, but isn't necessarily defined by it. That's kind of why I am kind of optimistic if they go outside of the solar system in any regard. Let me see. May Thomas, vague question with regards to Destiny 3. Anything on that front is saying, at least my take on anything to do with a D3 is that, yeah, I think D3 has to happen at some point. The real point of it, though, do you believe as far as gameplay and story is concerned, a Destiny 3 would provide more ample room to grow through the constraints of trying to fit new ideas and things into Destiny 2? I think inevitably it's going to happen, but I also think that narratively speaking, they need a big moment where a reset like that makes sense. I put forward the feedback of like, it needs to be something as big as like our Guardian dying, I think, in a video way back when. You know, like, I think that literally has to be the case. If we're going to get a D3, kill the Guardian, let them wake up 400 years later. You know, like, completely change the world. That's the only way I think you get out of the D2 era. Meta, thank you for the $10. Is it possible that the first knife wasn't the witness? I know it's what it said, but it's a proven... Sorry, I know what it said, but it's a proven liar and fallible. Time-wise, it doesn't make sense, but I'll leave there to avoid taking up time. No, thank you for the question. I think the witness is a distinct liar, but it's also a liar for its own objectives. You know, like, the context of what it's saying within Salvation's Edge in that moment, I don't think it makes sense for it to tell a lie there. Meanwhile, way back when it came to everything to do with Beyond Light and all of the time that it was trying to tempt us over to darkness, in those moments it made sense for it to lie and say, I am the voice in the dark. You know, like, I think it's dependent on the time and the context of everything. And do you think our character will die sometime soon? I don't know, Labine, but I think it's got to at some point. Ooh, David, thank you for the €5. Hey, Bife. I would love to look over Dreams of Alpha Lupi. It maybe explains what happened to the Gardener. Did you read the Winnower lore book in Grimoire? In the Grimoire book. If this is talking about... Okay, so Dreams of Alpha Lupi... Are we talking about the original ARG from like 10, 12 years ago or something? Because if so, that's a long while ago. I might be completely misinterpreting something there, David. When it comes to... Did I read the Winnower lore book in Grimoire book? Or Winnower lore in the Grimoire book? I presume you're talking about what I've heard is in the new kind of like Grimoire anthology. That is lore that has not yet been released in the game. No, I have not. I really want to get my... I'm trying to get my claws into it so badly, but it's really tough to actually get a hold of it. So yeah, no, not been able to get that yet. I have not read it as a result. Let's see. Ooh, Nadine, thank you so much for becoming a member. Yes, this is what I was going to do. I was going to do Court of Blades to see what the dialogue changes there are. Does the Winnower have other knives? I don't know. I think it's entirely possible. No, we don't want to do Threadling build. Actually, we want to hold off before doing this. I want to take a moment in Dim and apply a loadout properly. Because in my loadouts, I do not have my silly Chaos Reach build that I was using earlier that I would very much like to use. There we go. Let's see. Sorry, David. Let me see if I can find follow-up to this if you've made one. Nope. Yeah, if that's point being, if you're talking about the Grimoire lore book that has been released, volume 6 or 7, I can't remember, then yeah. If you're curious about the unintelligible witness dialogue, there's a recent post on r/destiny lore. You could go ahead and post it. No, it's okay. Don't get me wrong, I'll be able to go ahead and find it. And as far as everyone else is concerned, I'd rather not extend link policy just so that you can post one link. Purely on the basis that, you know, we can go ahead and everyone has Google. Where everyone can use Google. But thank you very much for the offer. I do appreciate you telling us that though as well, because I was gonna have to check there next. Knowing that it's out there helps. I appreciate that. Let's see. Gonna have to go. Weekly reset. Info with some friends. Catch you in the next video or stream that you do. Take care. Thank you so much, Owen. Let's see. Chaos Reach is fun. Oh, that's weird. Why isn't the builder playing? What? No, this is very much not the Chaos Reach build. Dim, what are you doing? What in the world? There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Let's see. Cacao juice. Traveler and Veil as yin and yang, a physical thing with a mind and a thing of minds without physicality. Yeah, I think that's vaguely how you do it. What was the last entry? Oh, this is Danny Red. What was the last entry in the Book of Sorrow? I have a theory on what happened that changed Oryx's view on the sword logic when he came to Sol and got revenge for Crota. Let me pull that up on Ishtar real quick, because that's a very good question. He's going all the way back to the very beginning. Here we go. Yeah, this is the last verse of the Books of Sorrow. Hopefully you guys can see that. But yeah, I've made preparations. If I'm defeated, I know it will be because my understanding of the universe was incomplete. I failed to anticipate some strategy, some nemesis, perhaps Teox if she still lives. If I am defeated, I know that that I will fall to something mighty, something that craves might, something that loves what I love, which is the deep, a principle and a power, the versatile protean need to adapt and endure, to reach out and shape the universe entirely for that purpose, to mutate and redesign and test and iterate so that it can prevail and can seize existence and hold it, certain that this is everything, that there is nothing to life except living, and it has two faces, yet is one shape. One face is the objective, which is obvious. The other face is that will to sacrifice things and ideas for a single mission, the mission of becoming the shape, a shape that will not relent, the utter commitment to survival, to draw the right sword and choose where to cut, to allow this hunger to become your weapon. So I will prepare a book, which is a map to the weapon. Spoiler alert, it's this book. It's the Books of Sorrow. And my Vanquisher will read that book, seeking the weapon, and they will come to understand me, where I have been, and where I was going. And then they will take up my weapon, and they will use it. They will use that weapon, which is all that I am, and armed thus with my past and my future and my present, which is a weapon that takes whatever is available, a weapon bound to malice, they will mantle me, Oryx the Taken King. Spoiler alert, the weapon that he's talking about is Touch of Malice. They will become me and I will become them, each of us defeating each other, correcting the other, alloying ourselves into one omnipotent philosophy. Thus, I will live forever. I'll make sure of it. So yeah, there's your final book of the Books of Sorrow for you, just so you know. Not sure if that fits with whatever your theory was, but yeah. Yeah, I was going to do Court of Blades real quick. See if there's new dialogue here. So yeah, Danny, I don't know if that helps to give you some answers on your thing, but yeah, that's the last page of the Books of Sorrow. Could we see the Concordat as a new faction with enemy guardians? Yeah, possibly, but I think that doing enemy guardian combatants is always a bit of a tricky one. I also, there was another similar question about whether we might see the Aphelion as a faction. Don't know about that one, purely on the basis that they are very vague and they seem more of like an eldritch horror type thing, and you kind of, I don't know, they're so vague they could be anything, but the only thing they leave behind is radiation. It's one of those moments of they could be, but I don't know, we haven't seen enough of them, and I feel like Bungie hints to these things before we see it. Let's see, oh, $2, thank you Monday Meatloaf. The power to move worlds equals nightmare power / shaper? No, don't think so. I think that's just a power of darkness generally. The ability to take. That is the ability to move worlds. Did the 9 create the Gardener and Winnower?
My communion with the deep left me branded. A mark of knowledge, earned through strife. Seek yours now.
Ah, okay. So this is interesting. In the Court of Blades, they've reverted to the week, or to the Act 2 Week 1 dialogue here by the looks of things. Which is a shame. I would have hoped that they would have been able to actually put some more stuff in here from Savathun and Xivu Arath. I'm going to hold out and just see what's going on. We'll do a full run here just to make sure of this. Yeah, not totally sure. In AL, it says the knife cut away the flesh of the gardener. She lost most of her body and was forced to carry a moon-sized fear. Traveler origin? What do you mean? Oh, Alpha Lupi. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to need to go ahead and reread that at some point because it has been a while. Nope, I need more stuff before I can super, obviously. You dummy. The expert stuff, the expert version has new stuff. It's Lucent Hive. BB, is that new dialogue or is that just new enemies? Because if it's new enemies that are Lucent Hive, unfortunately that is not new. But if you're talking about new stuff generally that is to do with dialogue, then yeah, that's a big deal. Also do note that if it's dialogue where it's Xivu Arath and Oryx talking about Oryx potentially leaving, then that has also been found. That is the Week 2 Act 2 dialogue. We already know about that. Let's just do this and kill some of these guys. Oh dear. Yeah, sorry that you're catching at the time you are, Blaze. We, I don't know exactly how much longer I'm going to go on with this, but I've been taking a bunch of questions. We did the, reset story, which was very short, but pretty cool. We did the thing. I won't say what the thing is in case that you don't understand the spoilers, and I've not just accidentally spoiled you there. My apologies. Sod it. I'll go buy a rune tier. The bomb logic is indeed the way of the traveler or gardener. It was used first in the lore as we encountered it by Mara Sov, but it has existed long before then. That makes sense. The bomb logic is the idea that complexity with many different things prevails over the simplicity and strength of a single thing, right? So in other words, unlike a sword where it's just the blade and you cut things with the blade and the blade is strong, with bomb logic you have instead, well, a bomb, and bombs are made up of many components. When you have each of those components in isolation, such as say the firing pin or the detonator, it does nothing. It's only when you put a bomb together that it is more destructive than the sword. The way Mara Sov was able to quite ingeniously use this was that she actually incorporated Oryx killing her into part of her plan. Oryx's sword was the key. Like, Oryx killing her specifically was part of what caused bomb logic to work in that instance of the Battle of Saturn and her survival. Wow, I'll just already have another super. What the hell's that about? I guess it's just the build? Or maybe it was because the guy Chaos Reached? Not Chaos Reached, Thunder Crash next to me? Whatever. this new weekly story you are doing, or just looking for new hidden dialogue? Mighty, I'm looking for dialogue right now, just to see if there's anything. But yeah, so far it looks like some of the dialogue is just same as what we got a few weeks ago, which, yeah, okay. Can't all be winners, I guess. I'm gonna buy one more tier, because I want to get a special one for being on the path of ambition. Ritual of the Deep, yes. Ooh. Okay. I don't think I killed things with heavy weapons there, but yeah. Monday Meatloaf, thank you for the $2. Shaping Knife equals Taken, Nightmare, and Resonance? Shaping Knife, I believe, is referring more to Kate Air. Unless it's the nature of that power, in which case I would say it's probably more just the power of darkness that they're exerting. I'm not really sure what you're trying to say with all of that. A little bit more specificity might help on that front of things. Anything where it's to do with reshaped and shaping might have stuff to do with Kate Air, though, purely on the basis that her title, is at least the guest title that we have, is Kate Air, First of the Reshaped. So yeah, not 100% clear on that, though. Hey Cameron, thank you for the $5. So if the next big villain after the Witness is the Winnower, can you really kill something that for all intents and purposes is the universe itself? Not necessarily is the universe itself, but more is a core primal part of the universe, right? Like, the way the Winnower likes to phrase it is that it itself is just a part of all existence, and that it is, because it is, like, fundamental forces older than the primes, I think is one of the ways that it describes itself in the Gardener. Back in the Unveiling Lore book. It's a valid question, though. It's something that I've seen questioned a whole lot. I think that there is a reasonable degree of... Yeah, there's a reasonable degree of questions you can have around whether or not you can kill a physical primal aspect of the universe. Like, I ask that question with Nezarec all the time. I'd say that if you're going to go ahead and look to what the story is in the future, I think that it's likely that the Winnower will have a part of it. I'm less sold now on the idea that they're the villain than I was at the beginning of Heresy, purely because of the fact that something new has kind of emerged controlling the Taken. And, I mean, you know, big gods like that don't just appear in Destiny all the time. Like, this is something which has been slowly building in the background for a while. Ooh, it's bombs. Okay. Oh, someone got turrets. Nice. With how the story is going, the Winnower isn't going to be a villain from BB to Cameron. Yeah, I feel like you're correct. I'd love to see more of the Winnower, and I'd love to see it take part in the universe and be a part of the story. I don't know if it will be the Winnower. That's the next villain, though. I could very much be wrong. Oh, I'm probably going to die here. Here it comes. Yep, there it is. Let's see. Meta, thank you very much for the $5. Third darkness subclass equals sound. Example, lightning is physical discharge and thunder is unseen sound wave, i.e. arc energy, cough, Vespers, cough. I disagree, because sound is still waves, that are waves of energy that are made up as part of the physical universe. I think that whilst resonance and the idea of sound is something that's played with a lot, and even there is the whole point of resonance being a darkness subclass, I really don't think that's the case. Because again, darkness is all about a power of the mind, right? And sound, much as we can't physically see it, it is still waves in front of us within the physical universe, right? Like, technically when they talk about all the stuff to do with arc and everything, arc still goes on and talks about both lightning and thunder, right? So for example, there's Titan aspect, which is touch of thunder. And in those instances, you are talking about something that has sound, right? So yeah, that's just my opinion, you know, that doesn't mean that you're wrong, it just means we don't know, and that's what my take is at very least. Ooh, let's kill that. Hopefully Blueberry will be able to kill the other ones. Maybe we won't need to. I believe there's new Xivu dialogue when you load in on Expert. Sorry if I'm wrong. Thank you for checking that, BB. We'll check that out next. It could be that that's just the dialogue that came from week 5, but we'll go ahead and see. It looked like the Winnower chilled out after the argument with the Gardener. I mean, look, listen. We only have the Winnower's perspective of things. here's another point. Much like the Witness, the Winnower could also be lying. You know, we're working on a single perspective here, which is its perspective. And whilst some bits of what it's saying, you know, it appears that they're true, with other bits, who knows? Like, nobody can be quite sure. I wish I could go ahead and give more insight into that, but that's just kind of the nature of it all. Solar deals resonance deals solar damage, so it can't be. I mean, sometimes Captain Rayleigh, that's just video game, being video game. Like, if it was this neutral power of darkness that just was meant to be an element, but we haven't explored yet, then yeah, it could just be put under something that has the same vague color for it. You know, it's not to throw water on the idea entirely, it's just to say we don't know. And at current, it's also, yeah, things change and things happen from time, and sometimes things change in the span of a video game doing its thing. Oh, no, you don't. You just do this. Cut that early just so I can get another one more quickly. Also because, lol. I'm trying to read the chat and totally did not misclick there. Absolutely not. No, me? Misclick? Never. Absolutely never. New God be like, move over, little bro, I got this. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. They've sort of come out of nowhere. It's strange for them to be as quiet as they are. Like, I said this at one point in one of my videos on the topic, but like, things of this magnitude in Destiny tend to leave footprints, right? And all that we've got thus far is tentacles and eyes, and that's it. You know, like, we have no clue what's going on with this bloody thing, and ultimately that means that we have all sorts of possibilities opening up for us, which is cool in itself, but also, like, mildly terrifying, because that's not the way that things work in the universe, and it really lends to the kind of Eldritch Terror vibe of it. Could there be worlds and civilizations in the Ascendant Plane? Not sure if there are any civilizations left on the material plane outside Sol because of the Witness in the Hive. I don't think it's quite that bad. But it would have been really bad if the final shape had gone off. Because, I mean, like, you got to remember, the universe is a big old place. What I don't know about is civilizations in the Ascendant Plane. All I can tell you is if one exists, fascinating people. Would love to see what's going on with that. Because that means it's a people that are able to psychically manifest something powerful enough that it is capable of basically just holding itself together through will and thought within the Ascendant Plane itself. Like, the Ascendant Plane needs to be shaped in accordance to things that have a huge degree of paracausal power, right? So that means anything that has a throne world or is a civilization on its own that just exists within the Ascendant Plane has to also be powerful like that. So, I mean, it's possible, but what you're describing there is amazing in terms of, like, the capability. I'd say probably if you were looking for something like that, your closest candidate is probably the Scions. Dang, I did. If you're looking at the Scions in that regard, I think you're looking at something that fits closely because the Scions in Death have this, like, shared meta-consciousness and dream that they go into. And in that, they live, they can commune with all the ancestors, they reconnect with each other. And if that's what's going on, then wow, we have so much more we need to discover about them, but we also don't know where that is, you know? If it is a realm purely made up of thought, then I don't know, could be something to do with the Ascendant Plane. Sorry for the flashbang there, folks. Die. Oh, we're about to get 12 challenges. Nice. Come on, show me the head, show me the face. Let's chuck that out, build bolt charge. Shoot him in the toes! Shoot him in the toes! There we go. Crash on them fools. Nice, 13 challenges. Let's see. I can just imagine Toland on his island of the Sea of Screams waking up and seeing an eldritch monstrosity, just shaking his head, saying, I freaking told them. Yeah, no, 100%. I don't know where Toland is or what he's doing, but right now I imagine he's rolling in his grave, being like, you know, he's that one meme of like, when will you learn that your actions have consequences? Toland is just funny. Not funny himself. I imagine he's got terrible jokes, but I think just his existence is funny. He gets to watch us run around doing things. Meanwhile, he's sitting there being like, the guy, he is the guy with the cereal bowl that's just like looking at something and he's got one hand out being like, why do I do this? What the hell? This is 100% what Toland is doing right now. That's his vibe. Big suspend. Ooh. In recent lore and unreleased lore book. Oh, okay, well if it's unreleased, I'm not talking about it because, yeah, we don't talk about unreleased stuff in this, David. Just gonna throw that out there. we don't fuck with spoilers on this channel. Just throwing that out. Yep. If it's unreleased, then yeah, that's the way it is. Let's see. Oh, Captain, I don't think Xivu is going to be killed off this season. I know, I understand the concern, I'm there with you. But like, no, she has way more of a story still to be told, and I don't think Bungie would casually throw that away. I understand people were sitting there being like, well, if Xivu doesn't die in Heresy, when will she die? And I'm sitting there being like, does no one know about this Cabal story with Tora Bartle? Is it really that poor? Like, Keitel will not shut up about it in the casual dialogue. Like, are we the only ones who know about this as people who pay attention to the lore? Are we in this unique, specific club? Like, what's going on? Evan Flo, no, nothing on Notchris this season. He doesn't fit into it at all anymore because he is, I mean, he's dead. He's very, very dead. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and try a Court of Blades on Expert and just see what's what. Maybe there's new dialogue. Maybe there isn't. We'll see. It's going to be solo, so it's going to be hilarious. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Joe, we can't kill Xivu while she's still having a massively messy crisis of faith. 100%. What do you think the Witness's voice change at the end of the final shape? What do you think of the Witness's voice change? Sorry if you can hear Turbo in the background, by the way. That is dog. Yeah, went from a voice that overlaps to a lone male voice in Iconoclasm, Salvation's Edge, and Excision. Could that plurality have been a facade? I think there is... Ooh? No, this is old dialogue too. This is all on Destiny Lore Vault. If you ask me, that's all to do with stuff. Yeah, I don't know about it being a facade, but I do think that within a chorus of billions, there would have been at least one or two voices that were more dominant. Ooh, that's a Bane. Oh, that's a Meteor's Bane. Oh, that might be me dead. Never mind, I'm the best. Best in the game. No taybacks. Rip. Yeah, we'll check on the first boss and see what's going on here, but I might just X out of this when everything's done. Echoes get a lot of flack, but I really enjoy seeing more of Chioma and Maya. The ending was meh, but IMO was purposefully open-ended. I agree on the idea of it being purposefully open-ended. I do think that Maya and Chioma represent the strongest aspect of the storytelling. I think that also anything was going to have trouble following the final shape, you know? Like, just by nature of design. And, you know, that's always going to be a problem, but what can you do, you know? You concluded a 10-year story arc, and then whatever comes next is inevitably going to be judged with recency bias in mind, and I mean, the content recently from that was excellent, so really tough. Okay, we're going to try and not die, but that's going to be very not easy. Oh my goodness. Whoa, okay. Chill out over there, you lot. Yeah, we're basically just gonna Tempest Cascade the bejesus out of these things. Oh my god, leave me alone! Ah! The worst. If Destiny 3 does or doesn't happen and there is a time skip, do you think they would skip over the retaking of Torobatl? I think that Destiny's gonna do retaking of Torobatl in the next coming era, but that's just because they keep going on about it. I could be wrong. I think that what we will see, however, is that they will deliberately skip over a lot of stuff that they will then reveal as time goes on. Because, like, think about it. You know, part of the reason why we had so much lore back in the day was partly due to the fact that we had all of this lore to do with the Lost City and the ages that came before, City Age, Golden Age, yada yada yada, etc. So like, oh, this is part of why it's not doing its thing. You need to die. I remember that. Yeah, part of the thing for all of this just links back into that general point of, if you're going to build up lore and if you're going to do a time skip, having all of these moments in the background that you weren't personally there for, but which are kind of important to the story, is a really cool way of building the depth of things. That's how I'd like to see them do it for a D3 at least. What do you think of the entropy theory of the third darkness subclass? It goes how darkness subclasses are opposite to light ones, with how solar stasis / void strand work. See, I don't know whether it's void and strand being connected. I think personally it might be more arc and strand, but I could be wrong. As for entropy itself, I don't know. Entropy is about the decay of the physical universe, which fits more into the idea of void, but also into the idea of void being the entropy and then also the potential of the nothingness that's found afterwards. Could just be me. I could be wrong, but like that's my interpretation. Again, when it comes to darkness subclasses, they need to not be a physical thing or something to do with the physical universe. They need to be conceptual. You know, they are not of the physical universe, they are of the mind. That's the big thing about darkness subclasses. Or powers of darkness generally. I mean, case in point, key example, look at Deep Sight. Alright, we're gonna do this. You get no cake. Wow, there's just like all 10 billion things in the universe spawned at once there. How do you think Bungie will transition from Heresy to Frontiers story-wise? I don't know, but I mean, look out for what happens in Act 3 and beyond. I don't know if it's going to be something to do with the 9 and Rite of the 9, but my guess would be that there will be something they're priming us for. The 9 have their own agenda and they have their own objectives. So like, I say the 9, there are multiple groups within the 9, but the short version of all of this is, look for them to prime with something. At the very end of Season of Arrivals, they primed us for Beyond Light, not just with the fact that Bungie did the big reveal stream, but also we got physically abducted inside a pyramid ship, and then there was the note of ancient power awaits you on Europa, right? Is this the wrong thing? Did it change? No, what the Also, why are there so many of you? Oh, wow. My thing is going down. We still live on here? Yeah, let me just double check this. Sorry, guys. No dropped frames, no break in connection. Doesn't look like anything's down. Let me check stream health. No. Okay. Wow, that was weird. Not that I got dropped into a much better place at the end of this, though. Oh, jeez. Sorry about that. I thought... I'm astounded that I got reconnected, if anything. You got bead. Ah, yes, there we go. Cool. Sorry, my immediate priority was, oh, is the stream dead? Ugh. Let's just do this here. Oh my god, I'm down to primary and that's it. Oh, rip. And it reset my super completely. Oh, this is pain. This is the worst. Thank goodness for that. If we get a third darkness element, something done for kinetic or fourth light element or something? No. I don't think there's going to be a fourth light element. I think if we see subclasses from that point onwards, there was a comment and suggestion earlier that stated it would probably be something more like neutral powers that represent something worthy of a subclass. Like my favorite possible example of this that's totally not confirmed at all, but I'd love to see, since it was something that was done way back when in the Season of the Plague, which was this fan-created thing, would be, yeah, make Siva a subclass, you know? Things like that. Will that happen? I don't know. Would I love to see it? Yeah, 100%. I just need to stay alive to either find some ammo or just, like... Okay, yeah, there's some green ammo there. I can get super this way. Don't mind me. Please leave me alone. Yeah, we're going to test this hypothesis, and then if there's nothing at the end of this one round completed, then we're just going to call it. Because, like, wow, pain. Let's kill that. There we go. Oof. Also, why did it have to be only knights? Yeah, what the hell's going on with that? Oh, and there's a Meteor's Bane, because of course there's a Meteor's Bane. Ugh, pain. Terrible. Witness dislikes, Witness's favor of Savathun is so fascinating. Witness dislikes sword logic and might have saw Savathun's also going against it. I wonder how things would have gone if she had become a disciple. I mean, look, listen, there are... Ask Elsie. I imagine there were probably timelines where she experienced everything and where she saw what happens as a result of that. You know? Just a guess, but like... Man, Elsie tends to be the key to the future and all bad things that happen within it. So basically metal bending, I assume that's talking about Siva. I mean, not exactly. It's more like controlling a vast swarm of nanite particles. But yeah, no, sure, we'll call it metal bending for the sake of lol. Oh, this is going to be so bad, because they're going to do this, and then they're going to release meteors, and then I'm probably going to be dead. Well, almost every part of that prophecy fulfilled there. Alright, we're going to find the last symbol. Now that we've actually got a super, we're going to beam this thing down. Wow. Destiny being Destiny. I'm surprised Elsie wasn't touched on in the Final Shape. I'll be honest, it's one of the few things I dislike about Final Shape. Elsie's story just kind of does nothing, you know? Like, the last bit of input we get from her is realistically Season of the... Oh, frick. Okay. Is the stream still up, or are we down? Oh no. Are we still here? Is everyone still going on? What's happening? Oh, am I back? Are we still here? Still up? Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, my stream window died for a second there. You are up. Stream is still up. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. Chrome apparently is very unhappy with me using it as the, like, main piece here for monitoring stream software. But yeah. It's not like me. Not at all. Phew. Sorry about that. Minor panic, brackets major panic. Yeah, no, Elsie's, Chrome just being snot, yeah, thank goodness. Yeah, Elsie's story is the one bit that really mystifies me. Again, I feel like there should have been more. Oh, God. Of course I didn't have Unstoppable on. Alright, we're going to take a moment to pause back here. Did I really not reset my artifact for this? Yeah, no, I do have Unstoppable, so what the hell's going on here? Why is it not doing it for Delicate Tomb? Has it got an intrinsic on it? Is it because Delicate Tomb jolts? Is that it? Wow, does Delicate Tomb just not proc that? Okay, whatever. Maybe I need to... LFR? Okay, so it does work, it's just... That's very weird. Well, this completely breaks my build, but whatever. Sod it. We'll just get some special ammo and then use Chill Clip on these boys. Will we see RS6 ever? I'm not sure what you mean by RS6. Hear me out, next DLC we go to Fundament. Yes, the concept art was very land focused, but it's been a millennia since the Osmium Court was there. Oryx mentioned it. I mean, there were ships on there, but also the problem is those ships look like human designs. So like it doesn't necessarily make sense, you know, unless humanity has somehow visited Fundament, which, I mean, crazy nonsense has happened in this game. It's not impossible. Alright, now we run away. Yep, and then we'll just respawn. It doesn't work on Tomb because of Jolt. Yeah, you're right, that makes sense, because it's already applying overload to something else. Yeah, that makes total sense at that point. It's just weird because normally those things are intrinsic. Could we see something to do with Precursor? I assume that's what you're asking from that BB? Maybe. I'd say that it's not impossible, but I think that people would probably want to give some time before we go back and do something that is Witness adjacent, just because killing the Witness needs to be a big deal. It needs to be punchy. Oh, you do have an Arc Shield. Cool. Lol. Wait, what? Oh, that actually worked. Goddamn. Man, Titan barricades. Who would have known? Who'd have thunk it? Let's see. Do you think it's possible Echo of Navigation could be dragged into the Sea of Screams through Ursa's throne and then used to find things hidden there by the Witness, e.g. Io? Yeah, I think it's entirely possible, but I worry more about other things being used there. Like, I think that the amount of knowledge we'll be able to extract from Oryx is important, but also the way they're framing it in the story, Eris isn't going to be able to hold on to this forever. So, like, yeah, we'll see what happens. If he does get removed at this point as well, at the end of the story, I'd say that that's a relatively tasteful way of doing it. Because, you know, you're looking at that point at a, you're looking at a character that's had his time, done his day back in court, so to speak, with everything that we saw in Heresy, and was enjoyed quite thoroughly. That is a suppressor nade. Ow. Also, geez, I'm so sorry that you guys have to watch me suffering through this, but we're testing. We're going to test this to make sure we can find out as best we can. Do you think the Witness could be brought back in Nightmare form? Always possible, but I think that it's quite a big ask. Also, this boss is such a jerk. Witness Nightmare would be terrifying. Yeah, no, 100%. Oh my god. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna switch up to a Void weapon real quick. Because this guy's shield has switched to Void, because blech. Krill, I am not pleased. Oh my god, no, don't do this to my Chaos Reach, boo! Oh my goodness. I'm probably going to go ahead and call it quits at this point, because, like, we're getting to the point where it's a little ridiculous. And, like, I'm not going to go ahead and say that I can go ahead and solo this when I'm just by my lonesome. Unless I just do 10 billion weapon swaps, which is not impossible, but, like, you know. Oh, and now your arc. Okay. Division. Oh my god, don't you dare. Spawning more stuff. Jerk. Yep, I'm just going to assume that there's no extra stuff here, because we saw the older dialogue from other weeks. I think it's fine. It was worth experimenting, but like, no, I think that's fool's errand, and I think more people would have talked about it in the chat if that was going to be the case. If you didn't heal, it would probably be easier. Yeah, no, it's fine. This is the thing, it's designed for 3 people, not to be soloed, and I'm not esoteric. I do not have the ability to just go in there and do whatever. Aaron, I do not have information regarding Nezarec, I presume is what you're talking about, not Netherrack, interacting with the Veil. I do not. Would you like to see Siva come back? And if it does, what do you think would happen with the Vex if they got a hold of it? Brr, I mean, interesting question, because you then have the question of whether the mind that would be controlling Siva at the time would be stronger than the Vex consensus itself, and the answer to that generally is no, but not always. You know, when it was controlled by Rasputin, Rasputin was capable of countermanding the Vex, because he rescued Ishtar Collective researchers. So, like, you know, it's not impossible, but I don't know. Are they completely real? That's a good question, but I don't know if I have the answer. Oh, hello. Oof, look at you. Shame it's not a draw time masterwork, but that's quite nice. Oh, the strings are literally the worst 2 you can get as well, but whatever. I have to compare that to my other one, because I do actually have an anamnesis with... it's the one from the track on the season path, which gives you repulsive brace. Oh wait, this is... hang on. This is repulsive brace and destabilizing, not destabilizing. Oh yeah, no, I do want to keep that. Okay. Yeah, because I don't have repulsive brace destabilizing, I have destabilizing dragonfly. Could Tormentors be made into Guardians? Nah, dude, I think Tormentors are too far gone. Always possible that I'm wrong, but like, it just depends. They were not part of the plan as best I know, and I mean, they might have the potential to wield the light. They have light within them, but like, man, they are twisted. They look like they're a bit too far gone. RS... Oh, RS6. Thank you for clarifying that, BB. Yeah, so... right, Rorschach. Okay. Yeah, God, that's a great question. Yeah, no, I think they might still be out there, but it depends on the lifespan of precursors and whether that's actually finite or not. If it is infinite, then yeah, it's possible we'd find them out there, but I don't know. Man, that's a great callback, and that's a great question. Okay, and we'll go ahead and drop that in there, and then infuse something. I actually want to infuse Line in the Sand, because having an all-arc build here is good fun. Do I need to clean my vault again? Look, listen, okay? Listen. It's bad, but it could be much worse, alright? I have seen so much worse. Also, I'm not one of those people that saves, like, 3 versions of the same exotic weapon that is no different from each other.
Hello, Guardian. Welcome.
You know? Let's see. Third Darkness element leaves 3 elements in energy, but 4 in kinetic. Kinetic weapons should be movable to energy slot, or get... I'm not... Don't get me wrong. Like, I get what you're saying. I also don't think that I want to sit there and propose ideas when it comes to sandbox, because... I don't know, man. You don't want to sit there and get a sandbox take from a lore YouTuber. You honestly want... you know... I play the game, I do my fair share of stuff, but I'm not really bothered for the most part when it comes to stuff like that. Like, game changes, things come and go. Like, most of the time I like to sit relatively above all of the nonsense. Gopnop? 699 out of 700. It's bad, but it could be worse. Yes, technically correct. The best kind of correct. Ooh, actually, what is the weapon this week from the Nightfall? I'm actually kind of interested in that. It's a slammer. Okay. I mean, I'm not too bothered by slammer. If it's scintillation, I do need a good scintillation, so maybe I wait until next week, which should be when scintillation's coming back.
Back to the front, Guardian.
Let's see, what else? Could Oryx have found, what could Oryx have found remaining on Fundament if he had returned? I mean, it's been billions of years. He may have wiped out all life on Fundament alongside the rest of the Hive. But, like, as the saying goes, life finds a way. It's possible that his destruction was so utterly complete that there's nothing left, but I don't know if that's necessarily the case even after billions of years. Like, Fundament was a great ocean planet. Oceans tend to be a massive host of life because no matter what's going on, you find life in an ocean, even if that life is gross and looks like a frickin' anglerfish. So yeah, maybe there's life. We don't know. We'd have to see. Also, don't mind me. I'm just pulling gauntlets that I'm going to upgrade. Nope. There we are. It's also Moon Psyops Battleground this week, so haha, yeah, that's one that I love. Oh god, Moon Psyops Battlegrounds. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, make it stop. Oh, make it stop. Please make it stop.
I could use some
Where are the remaining worm gods right now? We don't know, Elite. Unfortunately, we have no idea. Not the foggiest of clues. I'm only going to go ahead and take a few more questions, because, yeah, it's getting to that point where I should probably go ahead and edit down some of this video stuff, and we've been streaming for a few hours now. I'm going to go ahead and test, and at some point I'm going to push to, make sure that we've got this done on Twitch as well, so I can stream on both platforms and just take all of your questions in one combined feed. But yeah, it's all good. Maybe Frontiers and Apollo are about a group during the Golden Age going to explore the Centauri system. Yeah, entirely possible. I mean, Frontiers seems to imply things about Space Age and all that good stuff, so I don't know. We will see. If you get a one piece of Destiny-themed furniture in your home/office, what would it be? Did you see the Dreaming City coffee table? No, I did not see the Dreaming City coffee table, but then again, if I wanted one piece of furniture in just all of this nonsense in my real office, all the chaos that's around me, I don't know what I'd pick. No, I take that back. I know exactly what I'd pick. It's not even something that does something. It's a dumb, stupid doodad. Here it is. I take the weird little meditate thing that you get by Ikora that is a tiny version of what you get in the speaker's old area in the tower. I'd get this doodad here. Do I know what it does precisely? No. Does anyone know what it does precisely other than supposedly helping you meditate on the nature of the light? No. But I'd want one, and I'd take it. Do we think we'll see some species homeworlds in Frontiers? I mean, who knows how long Frontiers is going to be? I think it's not impossible. I know that Cabal and Elixni are definitely up there at the list of things. I know people talk about Fundament and wanting to go ahead and see that. I know people have talked about the idea of whether Volantis 2082 is actually the homeworld of the Vex, which I don't think it is. I just think it's a forge star, which is inevitably important, but, like, you know, it's the factory of a country is not necessarily the capital of a country, so, you know. Yeah, I'd love to see homeworlds of various civilizations. My big one for lore and everything is new civilizations. It has been, and with that, new enemy factions. Like, a new civilization is great, whether that's like an allied faction or not, but I really want to see a new enemy faction going into everything that we see in Frontiers. Like, if we're expanding out beyond the solar system, we can't always just be fighting Hive, Vex, Fallen, and Cabal, and Taken, and Dread, and Scorn. You know, like, we have 7 factions in this game, and that's awesome. I love that they expand them every once in a while. Like, you know, the Chillshanks from Vespers, for example. Like, expanding the factions with new enemies is cool. I want to see them actually get new factions in and expand the narrative through them. Because, like, you know, these are the factions that play host to the system. And, like, you can't always be working around with Cabal and Elixni and Awoken. Like, there's other things out there, surely. Hello. Let's see. What do you think will happen to Zavala now that he's no longer able to access the light and actually use darkness? Lead or retire? I think lead, but there is lore talking about how that is a crazy time within Destiny because of, like, just the way the city and the Greater Guardian establishment views darkness still. Yeah, let me find it. Here it is. Yeah, Lodestar. So Lodestar is the first bit. It basically talks about how the civilian population views the use of certain darkness powers. They talk about how they're even stingy about Void. But now, you know, Stasis Strand, speculative elements as of yet undiscovered, you know, they have shifted the taboo. It's basically talking about how the Overton window of what is acceptable for Guardians to use as a power has shifted. So that's the first note. The other bit is actually found in the lore, and I think it's... let me see. Yeah, I think it's in the Chirality lore book, where you get... yeah, so this is a report from Arnor Mahal to Chalco Yong. These are hidden members. And basically it talks about the idea that, like, the city and the Guardians have moved more towards accepting darkness as a morally neutral force. Context, Arnor is a member of the Praxis Creed. They don't like darkness. They really hate darkness. They think it leads to, like, significant degrees of corruption. But they're also discussing in this, like, the terrible reality of, like, Savathun was given the light, really? You know, they're talking about the entire notion of light being good and darkness being evil basically being completely uprooted and what that means for them. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and check all that stuff going on, yeah, I'd go ahead and check there. We'll do 2 more questions, one of which, Elite Nightmare. Any idea what Lodi transmitting could mean for from Vesper's host lore? Yeah, so the only thing I think that I can point out at this moment in time is that the capital L in Lodi probably means that it's a proper noun. And with that, it means it's probably a person, place, organization. It's something, right? That's all that can be said at that particular moment. Whether Lodi ends up being an organization, a planet, something in between, like it's a name for something. That's all that we can tell at the moment, though. Not a clue. The fact that it's communicating in English tells me that it might be a human element, because the fact that this has been basically received in English in the first place gives you that kind of vague hint and clue. There's no confirmation. There could be lost colonies of something human out there. There could have been stuff that was lost in Golden Age experiments, but honestly, not a clue. Like, we have no indication of what Lodi is at the moment. And yeah, we have no idea what Lodi transmitting could mean either. Oh, yeah, here's a fun final question to end on. This is from Sinless. Oh, actually, really quickly, $2 from Monday Meatloaf. Thank you so much. Do you want a new Darkness subclass? Yes, I do. I do. I think new subclasses are always fun. And also, it expands us to 3 Darkness subclasses, 3 Light subclasses. It would be good. Yeah, Sinless with what I think is the best question. Are we going to see the spider planet that the Cryo Hunter Exotic Helmet was talking about? So, for those of you who do not know, this is a fun story. If you go to Hunter Exotic Armor, which I am definitely lacking on, you can get Kaetarachnes Facade. Or Ceatarachnes Facade? I don't know exactly how you're supposed to pronounce this. It's never really confirmed. This talks about a hunter who found this helmet in a dumpster on Neomuna, along with a bunch of expedition notes. These are expedition notes of someone who ended up going to Triton, which is one of Neptune's moons. And basically, what happens is they discover in these notes that they're the expedition. Oh, sorry, it's not Triton, it's Thalassa. My apologies. But yeah, they discover what is basically described as fauna observed at nearest cavern. Large creatures, many legs, pincers. Having no experience in zoology, I conclude probably unfriendly. Discovered the unique pattern on the found helmet matches the coloring on the creatures. An attempted disguise? So yeah, it's basically talking about how they first find this crashed fallen ketch. Then inside they find the Kaetarachnes Facade, which is this. It's got the weird patterns and colorations on them. And then they're like, oh, there are giant alien spiders here. So yeah, terrifying, but also very cool. The big question is, why the hell was this found dumped in a dumpster? There are two possibilities. A, Neomuna is a very dystopian civilization where, despite being like, you know, in that place of like, oh, everything's great and look at this, look at all our advanced technology and whatnot, there's a lot of weird stuff to do with information control and the way that they actually kind of blot out their own history and don't completely tell it to their populace. So it could be this thing of they're trying to hide this from the general population. Or alternatively, there is a more benevolent way of looking at it, which is they dumped this specifically so the Cabal that were invading wouldn't find it, because it would give another potential future civilization a chance at life, which is what those spiders could one day evolve into. You know, the very, like, short-term, what about the people of Neomuna and what are they doing and what's their general philosophy towards things view of it, or alternatively, the long-term, they are still kind of Golden Age children, and they look at this from the very idealist point of view of, like, these things may not agree with us, but, like, they should be given a chance to live as well. Crab people, indeed. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. Thank you so much for everybody coming out and watching the stream. It's been a fantastic time. And for those of you who did jump along, go ahead and expect more of this. I will go ahead and keep this one live after the fact, even though there's stuff that I'm going to cut into a video. It's going to be a much shorter cut. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and... well, actually, no. Tell me that this is the last question. Do people mind if I eventually make this a members-only stream? Because I'd want to go ahead and cut this down into a video, but I don't know if people want to be able to hold on to the stream for later so they can view it. You know, I want to get the sort of idea of what people think of that. Because when it comes to, say, Vow, I only cut like 18 minutes out of that because it was dead air, expletives, etc. But would you guys want to have the full stream still available after this, even if I cut it down to just being the story bits and us discussing that? I don't know. Context, by the way, on that exclusivity, because I know it wasn't exactly clear, it would be members only. That would be here on YouTube. And to become a member would currently be the 99 cents thing. Make it members only for a time, but not forever. Kind of want to look back over all the questions you covered. That's a very fair point, actually. Yeah. Nah, based on that alone, okay. I'll go ahead and leave this one up, because there's so much stuff that is not actually related to the story itself. This is just like, hey, us taking questions generally. Okay, so yeah, I'll go ahead and put this up, and I'll see if I can edit it really quickly before I go offline and make it so that it's not going live as a VOD afterwards. Okay, yeah, this should be fine. Alright, everybody. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. You can go ahead and you can count on me doing more of these as time goes forward. We'll see what this looks like on the edited version on the other side, but for those of you who did come along, and for everyone who donated both their time and in some cases their money, or for those who signed up as new members, thank you so much. Have a great day, and I will see you all starside. Pura Dacia ad Astra.